Three. Welcome back to Leisure Hour Radio. As always, I'm your host, Mike Linehan, and today we have a very special guest. I met him in Connecticut. I met him when I did a show at Mohegan Sun. His name is Pat Oates. He's been on TV. He's been all over the comedy game, and he's a great guest today. Give him a round of applause, even though there's no one there.
I'm gonna clap for me. Yeah, me. Woo!
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
I was happy to meet you because you didn't suck.
Oh, thank you very
When
much.
I host that show, a lot of people suck, and I was like, "Oh, good, one doesn't suck."
Yeah, well, that's what that's what everyone said. Like my older brother, he was like, hey, at least he went out there and kind of fed off of your joke. Like you were the only one.
Yeah, because you gave me something. Thank goodness.
Thank you. Well, dude, what the fuck is up with all the suit guys that go there?
Well, all right, you know what that show is. We all know what it is. It's a great opportunity for younger people to perform, and that's great. If you have, I know people don't like bringer shows. I understand that, but I think they have a purpose. If you have the means, it's a trade.
Yeah,
you have friends, and you can get an opportunity to get on a stage that isn't an open mic. Then take advantage of it. Now, if you don't, Frank doesn't rip people off. The show you did, Frank tells you flat out, you're not auditioning for anybody. I'm going to pay you $5 a head. People comes in, you're going to get stage time. There's no delusion about it. So I like how he does it. That being said, most people who have friends suck at comedy.
Yeah, so, no, that's why I you know how I got the people to go in there that I brought? I went in the casino. I said, hey, you like comedy? I'm going to get you in for free. And I bought fucking 5 people's tickets.
And actually, the club usually frowns against that because you probably handled it right. Some of them will stand outside and start barking, and that's the last thing the casino wants because they don't want you taking away from the tables. But if you handle it right and walk around smooth,
found a girl. I found a girl and her mom, and I think the mom was abusing the daughter or something. She had holes in her pants. She seemed real banged up. And they left. They made me buy them. I bought them tickets to go in. And they get to the front door. Like, you know, like the little, like,
where you buy your tickets. So you saw a woman that's probably beating her daughter. You're like, you want to come see my show?
I said, hey, you guys look like you could cheer up your night tonight. I mean, she doesn't look too well. Like, what's going on here?
There's a no-hit minimum at that show. So come on in.
But I bring them to the gate to get the tickets. And they're like, instantly they go, how much are VIP tickets? I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, lady. I was getting you in because I need to perform it. And I end up buying
VIP, for those who don't know, stands for very important to punch your daughter. VIP, that's what it stands for.
Exactly. Very punchable. Or very
incredibly punchable. There you go. Very incredibly
that's good.
Punchable. There you go. We did it.
Yeah. So I ended up buying them VIP tickets, and they left before you even got on stage.
Yeah. They saw it. They had enough. That show is not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not. It's cool that people get opportunities, but the audience is split in half. Half of them are forced to be there by somebody who wants to be on stage. So those people aren't comedy fans. That's why bringer shows are tough, because there isn't the audience there. They don't go to comedy shows. They don't like comedy. They like their kid or their friend, and they're there to cheer them on. And even though you want to convince them it's not a contest, they don't care. Like, I'm rooting for my friends. It's not rooting. Enjoy the show, but they don't know how to do that. Yeah, then other people from the casino just want to go see a show. They don't know what it is. They buy a ticket. That's why I'm there. They hire me to entertain those people.
Oh, so if you weren't there, that would have been such a shitty show. If it was left on my hands, that wouldn't have went well, man.
There are some people who do. Like, luckily, Comix at the Roadhouse place at Mohegan, they hire some good guys to do it. So Frank and I are good friends. So Frank hires me to do that for him. Brian Bowden puts on the show. Brian's one of my good friends and one of the funniest comics there is. He runs one. A guy I know named Jeff Wade, he puts on one. Jeff's a wonderful guy, but he hasn't been doing comedy that long. So if the crowd's not hot, it's a tough freaking show, because if they don't know him, if you don't have a good host for that, then everyone else is in trouble.
Yeah, you did a great job of warming that crowd up. And they were, though, the people there, is that what you get a lot of times? Like, people, they were trying to talk, like, in, like, did you see, like, the people, they were feeding me a little bit of material, but you know that group, that family that was there for the girl's birthday?
Yes.
Dude, I couldn't believe that. She looked like she was like 95 years old. She looked like, dude, when she said it was her birthday and not her sister's, I was like, holy shit. I wanted to say something mean, but then I was just like, oh, 25, awkward age. I thought she was like fucking 60.
Better that so that was the threesome, right? That group there in the corner. So there was the blonde that sitting down looked good.
Yeah,
so I'm making the jokes about, oh, at least there's one good looking one. Like, a birthday girl doesn't need to be pretty. You get a sash for just being born. They left like before the second to last act. And in the way that club works, but the people listening don't.
Yeah.
You have to walk through the bars. You don't go through the club to go to the club back and forth. So coming out of the green room, I walked out and they happened to be leaving. And that's when I saw the blonde girl was much prettier and much smaller when she sat, because she was like a Sasquatch, and I didn't realize
Are
that.
you
And
serious?
so she turned and she goes, "You," and I went, "No!" Like I didn't even mean to. I just yelled no, and then she goes, "You are funny." She goes, "I'm gonna go gamble." I'm like, "And feed and probably destroy a village." And she's like, they were so drunk.
Yeah,
and
she had to go find her
You
trough.
were great, and I go, "You're great." Like the wall. Like, goodbye. And I just walked in. I was like, "Damn it! Why are you to be a monster? We were flirting on stage, and now you're a beast." All right. I know all giant things matter. My bad. Whatever.
That's a good show. So, are you usually the host for Frank?
Yeah, always. Frank and I.
Really?
Frank's only been doing. What's amazing about Frank, people don't know. Frank is 80 years old now.
Yeah,
he only started doing comedy 5 years ago.
Are you serious?
He had gone through some things in life. He had a medical condition, and one of the things the doctors told him he needed to work on his memory again. So he went and tried to do stand-up comedy. Took a comedy class in another part of Connecticut, and then I was running a comedy club in New Haven called Joker's Wild at the time, and it's not around anymore.
I think I've actually heard of that.
He came down to a mic, and he was just trying the mics, and he was an older guy, and he was kind of crazy, and we became friendly. And for 5 years, he's one of my best friends in the world, an 80-year-old guy, and he's the fucking best dude. He's an announcer on my podcast, and he's just a great guy. And so when he started putting on these shows, to be honest, he started doing them to find ways to get me more stage time, because he believes in my comedy. He's like, when you don't have nights on, I like being around you. But he was helping me out and taking care of me when I wasn't getting work, or when the weeks were bad or something like that, and took care of me in that way. I was already in that club. I used to be their house comic for years. So they already knew me. So yeah, when they were at Foxwoods, I was a manager and house comic there, and I worked there a lot. But so it was a perfect marriage. They were very happy. They're like, Frank, we'll give you a chance to put on these shows. And that's Frank's escape from life. He's 80. He's raising his 102-year-old father-in-law right now in his house. That's real. His 102-year-old lives with him during the quarantine. He never had a kid. Now he's got this. So his escape from all that shit is going to the casino.
Jeez. No, that's like when you want a dog, but your dad's like, fuck it, I'm not getting this kid a puppy. So he brings you to the shelter. And he picks out the old pit bull that you bring home, and
it's missing a leg, and not even like in a good way. It's got like a bone nub sticking out. You don't want bone nub. You want like a cute little paw thing. It's gross. It's scary. Yeah, but you got to walk.
It's sad. That's how my dog is right now. Honestly, my dog has one leg out the door. Literally fell down my stairs.
Easier to take it for walks if one leg's out the door. It always makes it easier.
That was good.
But that's the kind of thing Frank's deal is. So he loves doing that. So he chose me. So we do them together. Now, what sucked was that was our escape. He'd come pick me up at like 3 p.m. and for a show at 10 at night. We'd get to the casino at 5. We'd eat dinner. We'd hang out. He'd gamble a little. I was like his bitch. I don't gamble, and he'd buy me dinner, and I just wait for my man to be done. And then we go do our shows, and it was fun. Then fucking COVID happened, and he's not allowed to travel around with anybody because he has to be in good health to take care of a 102-year-old and himself.
Oh, yeah.
So now we can't even travel together or have the dinner, and that's basically when we see each other. So that's why when I started my podcast, and I shot a pilot for Compound Media with it, the one person I wanted with me was Frank. So I got him a chance to be on there with me, and we've been doing the show ever since, so I can keep seeing him during all this.
Oh, so your show's on a network? Compound Media?
I shot a pilot for them. It's Anthony Cumia's network, Compound Media. And I shot a pilot, and then all this stuff happened. And they weren't taking on new shows because of everything. But I love the idea of the show that I put a structure together just for that show. I mean, I like this. So we started doing it. I grabbed a co-host, another comic I love out of Pennsylvania named Bobby Tamburo, and we've been doing my show POS ever since, and even did a spinoff one of it. But yeah, that was just something that I put together because I was a guest on Cumia's show like 11 times in 1 year, and the place liked me so much they're like, why don't you try a pilot? So we tried it. It didn't get picked up. They've still never said no, but they've still never said yes.
Yeah, you never know. I mean,
but even if I don't, it was an awesome opportunity. I got an opportunity to go somewhere with real production, with a real crew, with a real background, and all this stuff, and it was awesome, and it felt great, and I've got that forever. So who cares if it doesn't work out? It was sweet that I got an opportunity and someone believed in what I did.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing about it. If you get a team behind you, like with all this production, like me, I can barely figure out how to get on Zoom. I fucking suck at all this.
I saw
shit.
that.
Yeah. Like I'm terrible. Like I mean, I'm good on some. Like I went to fucking Wentworth Institute of Technology. I dropped them. I can't fucking keep up with the tech anymore.
Right.
I'm like a 90-year-old man. Like when it comes to most of this shit. So like running my podcast right now, I'm in the hole big time. That's why I need guests. I bought literally before the pandemic. I bought mics, everything to have a bunch of guests over. Which some of my friends they're still coming over, like my like younger comedy friends. But most people they're not gonna they're nervous. No one wants to go to like someone's house right now to do their podcast. You know what I mean?
No, so, I didn't listen. You're saying that you're half my goddamn age. I'm 46 years old. I didn't know about Zoom or any of that shit. But when this happened, I'm like, am I going to sit back and do nothing? I lost all my gig. My only job was comedy. All of a sudden,
really? So how long have you been living off of comedy then?
Well, not anymore now, but like I was for, and I wasn't, and to be honest, for people, wasn't living off it, struggling off it, but it was my dream. Yeah, no. I'm battling. I had to borrow money from friends, but people supported and believed in my dream. But I needed to do just that so I could travel around New England and New York and all that stuff and do the gigs I was doing and go out.
If
but
you don't dive in head first like
everything,
that,
you know? So I started this. I'll figure it out. So I figured out Zoom, and now I do 3 different podcasts on it, and I'd rather and my therapy on it, which is nice, but it's the only way I would do it now because I can now talk with you. I don't have to worry about talking to somebody. Imagine I have a buddy I've met through like I wrote a comedy book and he. Oh
yeah, how to suck at stand up or how to suck at comedy.
How not suck at comedy, but I like your title way better. I'm sorry. How to suck at stand up would be an awesome, but I don't need to give that to many people. They just figured it out.
Jeez,
but anyway, that wasn't supposed to be a cheap plug. That book made me meet people throughout the world. And there's a guy I've become friends with, a comic out of New Zealand who was living in New Zealand for a while. And like, I'll have him on my podcast sometimes and he's just chilling in New Zealand. I couldn't do that before. Now he's going
They have some dope accents out there. I'll give them that. But they have some weird animals out there. New Zealand's a strange place, man.
He talks about both. And he said he was happy to go back to New Zealand during this quarantine because he could finally say the N-word freely again. He was very excited about it.
Why? Do they just throw the N-word around like we shoot black people here?
Yes. They shoot it off in the mouth and we just shoot them. That's it. N-words matter there.
Oh, yeah. They should matter here. I would say, what do you think about what happened?
I meant the word. Just to be clear, if people get that, they're like, wait, what?
I mean, if they're listening to my show, they already know. I've had some. The first podcast I did this started off originally. It was at my college. That's why it's called Leisure Hour Radio. I ran the radio station at my college, Wentworth. Nice. And then I just decided to keep it going as a podcast once I got out of there. I dropped out, I'll be honest with you. But
all comics do. Don't worry, I did too.
I saw it as if I want to do this, I can do it now. If I want to go back to college, there's 35-year-old dudes in college. I can always do that in my life. You know what I mean?
You don't have to go anywhere. You can now do it on the computer.
Exactly.
That's the
and you
amazing
save
thing.
a shit ton
you can learn
of money.
Whatever you want now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you're gonna see everything's gonna become so easy that it's just you don't even have to. That's what they want. They don't want you to have to go anywhere to do anything now.
Yes, you're right, but it's only going to be easy for the ones who take the opportunity.
Yeah, and take advantage.
Now
of it.
You can sit here and shit on. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I just did this thing. You know how many comics sit there and we're shitting on anyone who started Zoom, who started doing podcasts, who started going to StreamYard and started. You were doing something else. We're creative people. If we don't have an outlet, we're gonna go nuts, or we're gonna make people around us nuts. We need.
Oh, trust me, dude.
So
I
for
was
you to do
bad
that
in
and get
quarantine.
the microphone. That's something you needed to do. So that more power to you. A lot of guys sat there and bitch, but now they want to be on your show because they need to entertain. You know what I mean? So
exactly
the ones that step up and do shit. Some superstars came out of this pandemic. Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon were already stars. Ryan Long, Chrissy Mayer. They just changed the game with the shit they were doing.
That I was just gonna say, that's like the most impressive thing to me. Like if you either double, tripled, or did like what Tim Dillon did, maybe he had a lot of help from someone like Joe Rogan, but still, that
still has to be good.
Yeah,
go on Rogan and open that door. Those people are gonna be picky. They shit on Rogan and they love him. You have to be good. And Dylan is an amazing speaker. He conveys everything he says in a hilarious way. Schultz, the way he changed everything in the way he presented things in a different way.
Schultz was an adapter. He adapted
Always.
the turn your phone thing. I love that shit.
But even before that, when people weren't fucking with him, and he's like, then fuck you. I'll do it myself. I'll build this thing and I'll go on YouTube and do all that. He was ready for this pandemic. The two of them were ready for it. A guy like Ryan Long who started putting out sketches. He wasn't even really a known comic, and now he's going to do theaters when this is all over.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Chrissy Mears the same way. She was doing stuff on Compound, but now she's this huge thing that's going to be traveling all over the place because she took advantage of this and started putting out different videos and interviews. She went to the Capitol when they were storming by doing podcasts. If you take advantage, this was a huge time for people to find other ways to do stuff. And we're ready when it comes back. Now, when I'm on stage now, I've been talking on here. I've been entertaining. It's a different muscle, but it's also the same muscle. So I haven't lost anything from not being on stage. The people who didn't do shit, they're going to go up there, and you've seen it.
I'm so excited. No, that's why I'm so excited for Boston to come back, because I actually got like a few months ago, there was a kid trying to reopen up Boston comedy, and this, like, the online mob, they all fucking started belittling him, saying, COVID, you're gonna spread COVID, you're a piece of shit, why would you ever try to do this, why would you try to help a struggling business that's literally about to like fall apart?
Is he a white male?
Yeah, white male.
That's what Boston hates. That
I know. Well, that's I have fucking trouble getting booked, because if you're not, literally, it sucks to say, if you're
Boston comedy's not getting booked unless you're doing stuff for Tobin.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
if everything else is just some woman who wants to say she was gay once in college, so now she should be on the gay shows, and another guy and a tranny lady, and they're all like, "Come on, be on my show," and you're like, "Can I be on?" Like, no. You're like,
yeah, because they don't want to hear a story about me almost getting molested at a park when I was a kid.
But I got to hear about them getting molested by their uncle, who's now their aunt. It's like
exactly, yeah.
We're all doing the same thing. We're all have the same mindset. There is no gender when it comes to comedy. We're fucked up. We look at the world differently. We got it. This shit we're doing now where it's like, you shouldn't be allowed to do this. They're mad. When people get mad at something because they didn't have it before, you don't turn around and do it back at someone else. You open that door and show that you're the bigger man, woman, they thing, whatever the fuck they are, and then you let them in the door. And this thing of it's going to go away, because what happens when you go to a show that's nothing but queer women from the South who like
it's
shows
all white people in the audience.
They're not funny because they didn't work on their act. They've just worked on their Twitter game. That's the problem. Be good. There's many people out there that are funny of different races and gender. Boston has some of the best. Like, one of my favorite comics in the world is Lamont Price, who happens to be a black man living in Boston. He's one of the best comics in the goddamn world, one of the funniest Twitter games in the goddamn world. He doesn't deal with any of that shit. He just goes on shows. Why? Because he's a fucking beast.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That doesn't matter.
If you're a great, like you said, if you're a fucking great comedian, you don't give a fuck where the hell you're performing, what the name is. If it's an LGBTQ show, you don't give a fuck. You're just going there to kill, and you're getting the fuck out of there, going to do another show. You know what I mean?
You're not going to kill. The people on those shows aren't going to kill. They're going there to like say a statement or a meme and hope to get applause for their dumb thought. But there's no punchline. And then if someone like me comes over and goes, "Hey, that wasn't a bad idea. You had a decent premise. Why don't you try this?" Are you trying to mansplain me? I'm like, no, I'm trying to help your fucking joke because I got to follow it and you stink. And I was trying to help you, but get out of the way. Go fucking just go on Instagram, TikTok, and show your titty things or whatever you have, and do that. Don't go on stage. If you don't love comedy, if you're not going to take it seriously, you're just up there to make a statement and look at me. I'm doing something. That's great. I'm happy that you're comfortable in your own stupid skin, but be funny. That you're here. Either get funny or get out of my fucking way. I don't care if you're not funny. If you show work ethic, then I'll support you 1,000,000%. I don't care who the fuck you are.
Exactly.
If you don't give a fuck. Like on the show we were on, there's the bringer people. Half of them don't give a fuck. They're just there to lie to their friends and tell their friends they got booked by a casino, which they didn't. They just asked Frank for stage time. It's like a Craigslist ad. You just go, "I'll bring people," and you go. But they go, "No, the casino booked me, and I'm working for it." And they lie to their friends, and they take pictures, and they pretend like they're a headliner and a national act, and they're not. They just got to share the same stage as those people. Those people that brag like that don't care about comedy. I'll say their name. I'll service them, whatever, but get the fuck out of my way. I see you walking up, you're paying attention, you give a shit. I can tell that there's something behind what you're writing and you care. You know that show doesn't matter, but you know it matters to you getting more workout, and that's all that it's about. And then I respect that. And then I'm like,
you.
good, this dude is working hard and taking advantage of the situation, but he should get 10 minutes instead of these shitheads are going up there just telling dumb stories.
That's why I got so
That's not the way
fucking
it
mad
works.
when he gave me the light. He gave me the light after 4 minutes. I was like,
Yeah,
dude,
well, they have to.
I know.
Well, no, it is fair. You signed a contract. When you're with Frank, you did a thing. You get 5 minutes in exchange for that. The casino, yes, I want you to work hard. The casino doesn't know you. They don't know you at all, and they have no idea if you're going to be funny. 5 minutes is a long time when you stink.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, trust me.
That's why
I know.
I have to keep going up. And if everyone stinks, then I have to do more time after each person. And we only right now with the fucking curfew, we're tight on time. We have to be out of that room at 10:45. We start at 9:30. There's a time there for real.
That's why last call was so
I have
early.
to
That made sense.
So if people are decent enough, not even good, but if they're good enough to not leave on silence where the room's weird, I can just bring up the next person. But if everyone sucks and I have to keep coming out and fucking digging a hole out of these shitheads, then it kills the time more and it hurts the show. So yeah, that's why we can't give people more than 5 minutes because, and no offense, you haven't earned it yet.
Yeah,
I've earned it. I've worked very hard so they can give me 40 minutes when I headline there.
Oh, yeah.
I've earned that time on that stage. The club doesn't want to do this, but it's a way to get people to see their club. They see you guys and go, oh, I wonder what real comedy's like here. I don't mean as a shithead thing, but that's what it is because the night before it's like Rich Voss or Mark Norman or, or Colin Quinn or amazing people every fucking week. And yeah,
killers,
I need the white
literally
people.
Killers. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's fine.
So yeah, that club must get a lot of people going in there, right? Especially now, right? There's not too many venues that are opening doors, right? Or who's been going there for acts, do you know?
Oh, I mean, they still got it. When this first started, the only acts that couldn't come out were the West Coast people. I mean, we're not. You're in Connecticut. You're a 3-hour drive away from New York. You're getting everybody. You know what I mean? Anybody that can come out and do it. They had to change the way they do things. They, you can't have that room holds 350. A sellout now is 170 or 160. So they can't have the same amount of people. So it's a COVID sellout because you can't sit everyone in the seats.
Yeah.
Also, the shows had to be cut tighter because you had to get people out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So 3-man shows, young guys who are working out hard and becoming hosts and just worked real hard to get into that club now didn't get those spots because it has to be a 2-man show. On top of that, the features are now being brought by the headliners. So a guy like me, who's a New England staple, like I open for big acts and I headline small places.
Wow.
I would get opportunities there. I didn't get as many because the headliners agency is like, hey, I got to take care of all my people. They're not getting work. So the younger guy will now open for the bigger guy and he'll send them both to the club. And then the club's going to respect that because they're dealing with the agency. And when you can't draw as many people, you got to make sure all those seats are filled. People might love me, but I'm not going to draw a sellout. Mm-hmm. But that other guy, you spend more money, him and his other guy might with their podcast and their promotion, all those things.
Yeah.
It changed the way people did things. But in Connecticut right now, it's been going all right. The Stress Factory in Bridgeport's putting on shows. Some little smaller clubs are happening. This guy, Ryan Brouth, who's actually father and uncle run that club, Comix. Ryan's a comic. And Ryan's been putting on, during this whole thing, Ryan's been amazing. He's been putting on like 20 different breweries, putting on these huge shows. Wow. He was doing that before, but he stepped up. The shows he's doing now, he's getting national acts to do his breweries and vineyards and all that shit. I mean, it's amazing what he's got going on. He's at Sam Morrill, Mark Norman.
Shit.
Oh yeah. He's at Sherrod Small, all at these breweries and places. And I've been working for him doing a lot of shows too. People, once again, I talk about the podcast thing. Other people found other ways to make comedy happen. There's a dude named Matt Mead in Greenwich who started putting on secret shows, and he would do them in his backyard. He just loved comedy so much. He wanted all the comics from Compound. So like Aaron Berg and Gino Bisconti and Pat Dixon and Chrissy and all them and myself, he would say, I'm putting on these shows in my backyard. Compound people, if you're not afraid of hanging out in the backyard, fans, let's come out. I went and did a show in a backyard for 55 people, chilling, letting us. We all got paid, and they donated money to take care of us because they knew we weren't working. People were trying to make shit happen during this time, so you could find the stage time if you wanted it. But long story short, that club is one of the biggest clubs on the East Coast. I mean, they bring the biggest names in all the time.
Yeah, hopefully one day I'll have my photo on that wall. But I'm looking like it's looking like a far journey for me right now. But here, I want to ask you
real quick. Let me say this to you. I learned this early on. Don't worry about what the avenue is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pinpoint on one thing. So many comics go, my goal is to be this and this. When you first started doing comedy, you didn't think you were going to be talking to a microphone to another comic through a computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Never know it's going to lead. I never knew I was going to write a book. I never knew I'd get to do a podcast. A lot of the things I got to do because I didn't care about, I just worked hard and then opportunities happen. So don't worry about your face being at one. You may never work that club, but you may work 300 other clubs. And it's not about that one club. So don't small focus. Big focus is my act good? For 5 minutes, when I do 5 minutes, is it the best 5 minutes? Is every word edited out? Am I have cluttered? Is the audience understanding every message I'm trying to give them? Are they getting it? Am I just talking for 5 minutes because I've got 5 minutes? Because then I could just be funny for 3, and there's nothing wrong with that. That should be all your focus right now, is if everything is hitting so hard that people can't ignore how good you are. Because if you just go up and talk and you don't have a real message, it's not clear, then people aren't going to be ready for you. All that other shit will happen. You keep doing that. You keep writing 5-minute chunks. All of a sudden, you don't even realize that you've got 25 minutes and you're in the middle of people. And they just turn to you and ask you to do it. So that's the thing. The focus is in the writing, in the performing, in the editing. Right? All comedy, Jared Fried said it, comedy is just writing to edit. That's all it is. You just, once you put a thing out, you keep editing and editing. Your joke should never be done. Even if it's crushing, you can still find ways to polish a little more and move it around.
Yeah, I've definitely seen myself doing that.
That'll come.
Yeah. But I wanted to tell you. So I did a show. I don't know if I told you this when we first met. I did a show in Connecticut at like some guy's like fucking indoor turf field. Did I tell you about that?
Oh.
In Seymour, Connecticut. I did it like
Seymour's the one town over from me.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Real urban.
Yes.
Yeah. Nah. So I went there. I didn't know what to expect because it was like kind of like it was like 2 months ago. It's like kind of like a hidden like speakeasy. Like we're gonna do this like kind of under the table. There was like 15
Who was
comedians.
It for? You remember his name? That's all right. I just wondered if I knew the guy.
I'll get his name after this. I have the flyer. You probably do know him. Black guy, played college football at Georgetown.
Oh, okay. Keyron.
Yeah, Keyron.
Yep. Keyron's good dude. Keyron, when he first started doing he would do the Comix Bringers, but he'd wear a cow suit with udders on it.
Really?
He'd walk out like a cow, and then he wouldn't talk about the cow suit. He would do 5 minutes just like a cow, but would never mention the cow suit. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's kind of funny though, because then
the idea was funny. The execution. Keyron's been doing it for a long time, but he's another guy, energetic, great entertainer. Doesn't put the work in with the jokes, and he could, but he has every other thing going on in life. He could do it, but he never really. Well, he'd start at times, then life would get in the way and stuff like that. But I'm happy to hear he's still doing shit.
Yeah, so he did that, and I walk in. It was a fucking indoor turf field. I was kind of blown away. I was like, all right, this is like the most ghetto show I've ever done. But then there were a couple New York guys that showed up, and that's where I saw like the difference. Like you can tell like if someone's throwing their entire life into it, because this kid from New York showed up like the same age as me, like a year old. They've been doing it for about the same time, and like there's so many more like open mic opportunities and stage time in New York, even though Boston has a lot. Like I could just see the difference and so on. And it kind of like inspired me. Like that was like my moment, like where I saw this kid and I was like, I can do the same thing. Because I wasn't taking it that seriously my whole life. And you're right. If you're not fucking putting in the work, if you're not writing, if you're not recording all your sets and then going back editing, you're gonna end up nowhere in this business. You're just gonna be the guy that's sitting at the open mic, just here to get a drink and be weird on stage for 5 minutes. You know.
That's what you just said. There was the key. If anyone wants to do comedy, so many people shit on open mics. There's no audience. What the fuck? It's not supposed to be an audience, asshole. It's fucking batting practice. You have to go to every open mic, every mic you have with a goal, and that's what you have to do. So you go there with a goal and the best thing you said was something a lot of comics need to hear. You noticed other people's work ethic. It wasn't their jokes. It wasn't the credits they had. When you do that, when I first started, I went to open mics. I paid attention to the people that worked hard, and I would watch them every week and go, "Oh wow, that joke's different. Oh look, they changed it again." I'm like, "Ooh, that makes sense. They're working on it." Then I watched the other guy try to tell a new story every week, never get better, but be happy because he was drinking. It was some people, comedy is nothing more than their bowling league or their dart night. And that's fine.
You're right.
You can have that, but get the fuck out of my way. And
those people though, I can't associate with them just because it's like such a dead, like because they have such a dead end mentality too. All those people.
But remember this: don't ever shun someone because they don't have the same mentality in that way. They love comedy. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what happens to those people. They start to suck. but they start to gather a group of people that like them. Usually people that aren't good at comedy compensate by getting all their friends around them to support them.
Yeah, they
What do those
usually
people
have
end
the
up
biggest
doing?
friend group.
They end up booking shows.
Yes.
They do. And if you're working hard and they know you and you never treat them like a shithead when they were a bad comic, when they had to put on a show, they're going to give you an opportunity. Treat those motherfuckers who come and support comedy, always treat them well. That's always helped me, because when they're putting on a fundraiser, when their friends got a thing going on where they got a private show and they want to have 100 people get entertained, they want ridiculous amounts of money to give out. They only know one guy who can do 45 minutes, and that's fucking me. Why? Because I was nice to that motherfucker when he sucked at the open mic. So that's the thing. If someone's at an open mic and they're just a shithead, they go there, they go over the light, they show up late, they bitch about when they're going on stage, they complain about every comic, they're disrespectful, then just ignore that guy and eventually they'll go away. And even if they don't matter. But the guy who stinks but still is respectful, that guy is going to end up being involved somehow. He might be a radio personality. You get a guest spot on his show. He might be someone who writes articles about comedy. There's something where that guy is going to end up helping you. It's as simple as he's going to go, you know what? I don't do comedy anymore. You need a fourth guy for your bringer? I'm in. That's simple as that too. The support would be there. Treat that the guy who's a fan, treat him good. The guy who's just like, fuck you, I don't need to listen to any advice, I don't need to work hard, get that guy out of your way.
Yeah. So I want to move this in a different direction. So I saw you were on TLC and you were on The Soup.
Well, yes, it's a bit I do, but it's real. A lot of people have credits that make sense for comedy. Mine does not. Do you ever hear of the show Extreme Cheapskates?
No, but fill me in what it is.
Okay, I will definitely fill you in because I never heard of it either. It's people go on the extreme, do things on the extreme cheap. I was running Joker's Wild Comedy Club, and I was hanging out there, and a producer from somewhere, they didn't even know they didn't even say what show it was from. They knew they were from TLC, but they didn't even know what show they were shooting it for at the moment, I guess. But they called us and said, hey, listen, we have this woman who does things on the cheap. She's from Connecticut, and we're highlighting things she does. She puts on fashion shows. We think it would be funny if she did a fashion show at an open mic. Like, she took the 5 minutes and brought her clothes up. And she goes, would you allow us to do that? And I said, sure. Because worst case, it would have a picture of the club in the whatever it was.
Yeah, free promotion.
It'd be funny for the thing. Yeah, it'd be annoying a little bit that the camera's there and the open micers were. But I was like, that'd be fine. I guess the day before, they had problems with the cameras and production crew getting down. And they're like, you know what? It's not going to work out. But then the guy had come down the week before and scouted it and saw me at a mic. And he was like, but we're going to do another thing where we kind of need someone who could just talk and improv. Would you mind helping us out? We'll throw you like $50 and you'll get to be on TV. And I said, okay, sure. Let me know. So the next day they rented a bed and breakfast in New Haven, like the Yale area. And I found out when I got there, they were going to pretend that was my home. And the thing they were going to say this woman does, which, by the way, she didn't do, but they were telling her she would. That's how reality shows work. That she would go through the obituaries and look for women that passed away, had a lot of collection of clothes and had no daughters to pass them on to. And then she would contact the sons and ask the sons for the dead mom's clothes. I pretended my mom was dead for $50. My mom's alive and loves the fact that I was on TV for this. They recorded it. I had to improv it. I don't smoke weed anymore, but back then I did, and I was high as shit when I recorded this. You can see it. If you look at the clip, my eyes are watering. It looks like I'm crying, but I was just high as hell. And they came to the door, and I did the whole thing. And when they closed it on my face, I was like, you want my dead mom's clothes? Ease Talk Soup took that clip when it became a thing on TLC. And then for like a week, every time like the Kardashians would do something dumb or someone else, they'd use the clip of my face going, you want my dead mom's clothes? So that's how I was on there. There was 2 clips of that. Now, I'm not supposed to talk about it. I signed the fucking affidavit not to talk about it.
Oh, shit.
You.
My bad. No.
Dude, I've talked about it on my album. I've talked about it every time I do stage work. I've talked about it on shows I'm on. Yeah, they paid me $50. And you know what? Go ahead and sue me. My mom's alive. Right? She's alive. Like,
well, does TLC sorry, does TLC really think there's people going home after they watch that show? They're like, I'm gonna look up this guy, I'm gonna make sure his mom's actually dead. Like, this means a lot to me. Like, no one gives a fuck.
Before you say that, go to YouTube, put in Extreme Cheapskates Dead Mom's Clothes, over 3 million views, over 3,000 comments, and read the comments. These people feel so bad for what I'm going through and can't believe this woman did this to me. The comments are amazing. They believe it, hook, line, and say. There's been Reddit things about it.
That's awesome.
I've had other comics hit me up going, dude, go in this Reddit thread right now. They're fucking, these guys don't know it's fake. So I go in there and go, please let me mourn. They're like, dude, don't do that. I'm like, fuck you. I'm having fun. This is stupid. Like,
that's hilarious.
I say this on stage as part of the joke, but this really happened. The night it premiered, I was performing somewhere. I couldn't watch it. My mom and dad watched it. Like, they're divorced. They watched it separately. My mom texted me right away and goes, it's a little weird to hear that I'm dead, but I'm proud of you. Like a minute later, my dad texted me and goes, really proud of you and happy to hear about your mom.
That's good. You actually said that?
Yeah,
that's funny.
Those are my TV credits. So, like I said, did I know that one day my TV credits would be me pretending my mom was dead for $50? No. So you don't close avenues. You just say yes to opportunities and go with it sometimes.
Yeah, because sometimes it works out like that. And
I mean, it didn't really work out. I mean, it's nice to say those credits, but then once you explain it, it's like it doesn't highlight my comedy at all.
Well, that's a funny joke. It's a funny ass joke. It worked.
Funny ass joke. It got to be on my album. It's a good story to tell on podcasts, and it's just funny that I can tell people, oh, go look at this video. And when I start telling the story on stage, you can watch, like, usually fat white women love that show. That's what I found out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You can see their faces.
Fat white women love TLC, man.
Yeah, they do. And they look, the second I start telling the joke and I say the name of the show, they go, oh, shit, it's that guy. Like, they know who I am the second I start saying it. And they're like, oh, my God, wait, it's not real. And they get upset. I'm like, yeah, it's not real.
Has anyone ever asked you for an autograph because of that?
No, with pictures.
Yeah,
definitely take pictures with me to know, which is weird. They're like, hey, we take a picture. Like, we liked when your mom was dead on TV. Want to hang out?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like going to someone's funeral, not knowing the people. Like, can I just get in a photo shoot? Like, this would be cool. Like, we pose in front of the coffin. That'd be sweet.
What is your album on Apple?
I have 2 albums. They're on Apple, on Spotify. Spotify is free, so go on there.
Yeah, I'll listen to it tomorrow at work. I love listening to a show like that.
I've got 2. One's called Good Try, and one's called Birthday Like a Funeral. I did them when I started writing the articles. That was forever. I just did crowd work, and people would find it funny, but I would walk people a lot because I would be crazy. I wasn't writing. I wasn't paying attention. I was funny. I love comedy, but I wasn't doing the work I needed to do. I also was drinking at the time, stuff like that. When I cleared all my head from that stuff and got away from all that, I started writing articles every week, which became my book about like what I experienced at open mic. All the book's about is I would go to open mics and I would notice things and hear other comics going, wait, how do I get booked on a show for the first time? How do I know if I'm getting paid? How do I make this joke into this? And I would just write articles, what questions I heard. So it was almost like a guide for you. If you were someone who didn't do comedy, you don't want to read this book. But if you're someone that goes to open mics and has questions or editing and things like that, I answered all that stuff. But when I started writing that, I'm like, I can write this. I can write jokes. So I started writing jokes. And for the first time ever, I wasn't doing crowd work, and I wrote an hour's worth of material within like 2 months and said, fuck it, I'm going to record it.
Jesus Christ.
And then a year later, I wrote another hour. And then 1 year later, I recorded another album. And I was getting ready to do the third, then all this shit happened.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
But I'm very proud of those 2 albums. So they're out there. Good Try and Birthday Like a Funeral. Check them out on Spotify or wherever you can listen for free.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to them. And then you're a radio personality too, right?
Yeah, that's another thing. Another one, don't say no to opportunities. There's a local show here in Connecticut called Chaz and AJ. They're a morning show. I was a guest on theirs a lot, and then also on a show in Western Mass called Baxton O'Brien. I'd be a morning show guy on both of them, hanging out. And I started liking it. I started liking sitting and knowing the radio guys, and it was fun. And I didn't know anything about radio. I did go to Connecticut School of Broadcasting like 20 years ago, but that gets you ready for nothing, and I never did anything with it. So when I'm sitting there and chilling with these guys, I was enjoying it. And the way I'd met them, I did a roast of one of their, personalities on the air, and I'd met the general manager. Long story short, one day I just emailed the general manager after a year being on. And I was like, hey, how would I get into radio if I wanted to learn this? He's like, well, we don't really have opportunities for like something like a morning show. I'm like, no, I want to learn like the radio side. He goes, you know what? Right now in this day and age, it's not about being a radio voice or it used to be all about knowing the technical side, and they didn't care about your personality. Now people want personality and they'd rather teach you the technical side. So he goes, screw it. I'll make you part-time. You come in on weekends. We'll teach you and you go on the air. And I've been doing that for a year now. And on Sundays from 2 to 4, I'm on a classic rock station where I'm using my sense of humor in small little breaks. I'm doing 4 breaks at like 1 minute each there, but learning the radio side. And when COVID happened, I got to do it from home. We now have
Oh
it set
wow,
up. So I don't
that's
go into the
awesome.
studio. I'm just here. Way I'm talking to you now, I'm doing it, recording it through there and putting it out on Sundays 2 to 4, talking about classic rock and also making jokes in between with during the breaks and stuff that I'm allowed to do. And it's helped my comedy because it's taught me to edit better, to get more out of a small amount of time and get the message back. It's another way of conveying messages to people.
And just like making sure you're always clean. Like for some reason that like helps you too. Like just like
yes and no. It depends. If your sense of humor is clean, then be clean. But if you're not, then don't be.
yeah.
I'm only clean on there to the point where I can be clean. I'm still me to the end of it. I just won't swear because you don't swear at your job unless you don't want to get fired. You know, I don't drink
Exactly.
at
Yeah,
comedy
I got
shows anymore. I
fired
don't
from a
drink
radio
anymore
station.
because when I took comedy as a job, I was like, I shouldn't drink at a job. If you like your job, so this is my job, so I'm not going to drink anymore. That's the kind of thing. You only swear as a crutch a lot of times, but if you notice when you write a joke, you never write fuck. You never write whatever unless it's part of the joke and the word makes sense to the joke.
True.
It's just something we say. So if it's natural how you talk, fine. But if you go on the air on a radio show, you don't have to think about it. You just naturally do that. We know how to impress a girl's parents when we're trying to fuck her. We don't swear at them. We say the right things and then we go fuck her. Like,
yeah, true.
You know what to do, you know?
Yeah, no, that's
exactly
clean
right. Comics get work, but it's not the work you want because the audience is there a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
They're judging you on words. They're mad if you say a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the second a club or somebody puts a restraint on you, yes, it's their club, so you got to respect it. But you got to ask yourself, do I want to change my act and who I am in my message I do? And
just for this one club?
Just for one guy, for one fundraiser, for one fucking show. Do I want to do that? So a lot of times I won't take those. They're like, hey, we'd love you to do it, but can you be clean? I'm like, I can be, but I don't want to be. I like talking about dumb shit. Have fun.
I wouldn't even attempt being clean now. Like obviously, I don't swear a lot, but I do have like some inappropriate jokes. I got a couple of dick jokes. Like obviously, everyone when they first like getting into it,
what the fuck's clean mean? That's a joke. To you and I, we think swearing in sex, right? That's the first thing we think of.
Yeah.
But to someone else, they might mean, well, I mean clean, so nothing like, taboo or like no trigger stuff, no political, no genders. Like, well, that's not clean to me. Well, not saying this is clean. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, no drug stuff. Like, what? That's not clean. There's so many different rules of what it is. Is it PG-13? Is it PG? Is it R? And I don't even know what those fucking ratings mean anymore. So when someone puts any kind of limit on what I can say, I'm like, I'm out. It's just not worth it because it's not. I could do my whole act clean. It's not fun for me. I don't talk like that.
Yeah, it would just be so boring. And I mean, like,
but for some people, that's how Brian Regan's a genius, and he can see the world that way. Jerry Seinfeld sees the world that way. And I have a good friend, Howie Mason, who's a Canadian comic, brilliant. Doesn't swear or whatever. You don't notice it. They're so good, you don't notice they're not swearing. You know what I mean? Like they're clean, but they're just also funny. But when somebody's like, I just do clean comedy, they're just not funny. They're just doing memes. Shit.
Well, yeah, they're just trying to get easy book shows because there's not a lot of clean comics out there. If you're clean, you're gonna get booked.
Sometimes, if you have to be good too.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
That's the hard part. You're gonna get booked, but you're gonna be booked on a shit show.
Oh, true.
That guy's not gonna run a lot. It's just gonna be a fundraiser that's lame, and no one's gonna remember it. It's never gonna help you. Do 40 minutes of struggling because you're afraid to say the wrong word in front of a fat lady because she might get mad if you say Chinese guy. It's a Chinese guy. How else do I explain him? I just say the guy with a bowl haircut who knows karate.
It's not like I put on buck teeth and slanted my eyes. I just said Chinese.
Not yet, but that's my closer. I'm not gonna do it early. I come out, my name's Rick Shaw, and I'm like, that's you can do what you gotta do. But like, yeah, I hate when they put limits on us. And back when I first started, if you gave me a limit or restriction, I did it. The second you said, hey Pat, don't talk about this, I'm like, okay. And then I was talking about that. And then even if they laughed and I proved my point, like I can make it funny. Yeah, the booker's still like, fuck you. And I get that. That was disrespectful. That was me being cocky and doing whatever. Yeah, I can still make it funny, but he did have rules. He did. I had to think of the business side of it. He did make a deal with a PTO group or something like that. That was like, hey, we don't want this there because that's their lives. We walk away from it, But the next day, when a corporate business is like, hey, Sally, we told you to hire someone clean, and then that person made fun of this girl, and now
yeah, it comes down on
she's
him.
uncomfortable at work, and we ruined their lives with the dumb little thing that I chose to do. Now, if I'm at a comedy club and it's fair game, and you sit down and you have no neck, I'm going to let you know I can't find your neck. And too bad, because you bought a ticket. But if you were forced by your boss to go to a fucking show, and now I tell you that you're a whore, and everyone's like, yeah, Sally is a whore.
That's over the line.
I nail it. It's not right, you know?
Yeah, that's just so out of pocket. But I like that. The no neck. That's a good.
Yeah. She doesn't have a neck. And how am I going to tell you? I can see your head. I can see your shoulders. Where the fuck's your neck? You have no neck. You ate so much. You need the neck to eat. I never understood that. How do you eat so much you lose the thing you need to swallow? How? How do you do it? That's a lot. It's a lot of food.
That's hilarious. Do you have any shows coming? I'm not ending this, but do you have any shows coming up?
Yeah, but who cares? Like, listen, if anyone's going to check out anything, go to my YouTube page. That's where all my podcasts are. I have a Patreon too. And if you want someone to support stuff for as little as $3, you can get the shows before anybody else and other content.
There's no one listening to my podcast that's supporting shit.
You say that, but then that's where why do you think I'm on your fucking show? You find one goddamn person every place you go. I always do. No matter what I go on, there's someone who's like, oh, I like the cut of this dude's jib. I'm going to support. But if you don't have the money to do that, just go over to the YouTube channel. It's Pat Oates YouTube channel. All 3 of my podcasts are on there. POS Retail, and Bunk You. I have 3 of them there. I have comedy clips on there. I have a bunch of other shit I put out there. So just go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. That's all I ask.
So what's POS Retail?
Well, POS is, first of all, is Pat Oates show, but also a piece of shit. And that show was the one I did for Compound. And what we do is, and dude, I told you, I'm gonna have you on. It's a fun show. What we do is this: I take stories that are trending, usually not news like political ones, just dumb shit's happening. I have my co-host, my announcer, and then like 1 or 2 guests. I read the story, and then we pitch it around, and we decide who's the piece of shit in each story. So whatever, like last night we did one. A lady, she had a baby, and when she had the baby, she found out, she never knew she had 2 vaginas. And so the doctors, her whole life, she had terrible bleeding and pain during sex, but doctors were just like, oh, you have like a large hymen that won't break or something. And then they finally like figure it out. And I guess when they cut it to have the baby come out, you could tell she wasn't the smartest lady. Her quote was, well, now I just got one big hole like everybody else. So I tell that story, and I say, okay, Mike, who's the piece of shit? Is it the doctor for never telling her? I mean, what a shit doctor. Is it the guy who fucked her and didn't go, hey, there's 2 pussies in here? Why didn't he say something?
I think that I wouldn't have told
all
her.
Those tampons. Like, what is it? And I'd pitch it to you, and you'd say it. Now, me and Bobby were doing that show for a while, and when the pandemic happened, I had to take a real job again. So I started working at a retail store. That shit happened. It's helped me. Exactly. My new hour now is mostly about me working retail.
I bet it's hilarious.
About people. I'm enjoying. My buddy Bobby, he works for Compound Media as a producer. He's also a comic, but he also works at Dick's Sporting Goods. And we would talk about that shit. And one day he goes, there's a lot of people out there who work retail or hate retail. We should do something. I'm like, I don't know how it's going to work. We've had people on. Now we have guests on, like people that work with him that are crazy, friends of mine that used to do it, other comics. In that show, people love it because it's all retail stories that we're talking about. And
I have some good retail
POS
stories.
stands for point of sale piece of shit in Pat Oates show. So there you go. So
that's a great idea for a show, dude.
I gotta give him credit. It was all him. I was like, this is not gonna work, and people love it, so it's cool.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I'll definitely come on that if you need me. I have some good stories from back.
Have you done retail?
Oh, dude, I used to get jobs. I used to get jobs just to get the employee discounts, and I'd quit. But then I had a long job for a while. I worked at this place called Plating and Sports, and one day I was like, I had to go down and like. We had like a warehouse kind of like at the end of like it was like a plaza. There was a warehouse at the end. I went in there, door comes slamming and locks behind me. I'm stuck in the warehouse for like fucking 8 hours. Literally my whole work shift. I was just in there waiting for someone else to come in there because you had no reception in there. And so I was sitting in like a dark room the entire time. There was no lights, nothing. I went down there to get 2 hockey sticks. And I
You're like James Franco in that movie where he had to bite his arm off and shit. Like, yeah, that's the shit we talk about. So you come on, you do that, and then me and Bobby tell our stuck somewhere stories. We have other people. It's just a lot of fun, and we go off the rail once in a while, but it's a good time. So, dude, I'll have you on that for sure. But that's once again, I meet a buddy that I find funny. I had him on my show. I made him a co-host. He comes with an idea. Now it's a new outlet, and we're getting new people on. And it's just, you never know what kind of opportunities are going to happen. So just keep your eyes open. Don't get frustrated. Don't worry about the shit you're not getting ever.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing.
I
you
know.
watch some other guy, and you're like, dude, that guy sucks. How come he's getting that? That's not your avenue. That's not your door. Don't worry about that dude. That dude ain't you. You're going to get your shit. Somewhere someone's jealous that you're doing something. And you think, I ain't got shit. I started to realize that. People are like, Pat, you're getting this and this and this. I'm like, oh, yeah, I am getting all that. But I put the work in. But I don't care what someone else is getting. Now, I respect it. I'm proud of it. I want them to work hard. But at the beginning, it was all jealousy. And you see too much of that. Just stay in your lane. It's not a competition. We're all there with the same goal, but there's different avenues to the goal.
But it's like almost impossible. Like, because like the past 2 weeks, I've seen like all my buddies getting booked again. Like, and that's fine with me. But like, I did that show, Mohegan Sun. I only really did it to get in front of a bigger crowd again. And I wanted to get a tape of my set. That was like professionally recorded.
It's a good tape. Yeah.
That was the good thing. And I sent it around. I was proud of my set that night. And nothing. And it's been like that. Yeah, I know.
It's right. Okay, first of all, right now you're throwing bait in a water that's full of a lot of hooks.
Oh, I know.
Nobody's
full of a lot of big fish. There's a lot of sharks.
Not even big fish. Right now, bookers don't have things.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what they're going to do. All you do, you be professional. As a guy who used to run a comedy club and I used to book things, I respected the dude that once every 6 weeks, hey, just, would love the opportunity to work with you. As long as I don't respond and you do this, here's my clip. If you want any more information, email me back, please. That's it. Yeah. Now, you don't act like a fucking crazy ex-girlfriend and then 10 minutes later, like, just making sure you got the email, or a day later, like, did you see the clip? That part, they'll remember that because you're making them nuts because they've got 400 of you doing that.
Yeah.
Just keep doing the reminder thing. Every 6 weeks, take your group of bookers, send them something again. A little quick 2-line reminder, because here's what happens. I'm sitting there, I'm booking a show, I've got it all ready. A host calls me up and says, dude, my car broke down. I can't make it. I'm like, fuck, who am I going to get last second? I go to my email. Mike's name pops up because you happen to email me. I hit you up. That's the shit you do.
Yeah.
It's not the bothering other people. It's not going to happen right away. There's not a lot of opportunities right now.
Yeah.
People are starting, especially where you are there.
Oh.
What you have to do is go everywhere. Every open mic you can go to. Every show. Support things. Go places. On your podcast, dude, book people who book shit. That's what you do. And you're not doing it to ask them for shit, but you have them on. But also respect them. If you don't find them funny, if you think they're garbage, then no, don't have them on. But have them on. They like that shit. Most people who book shows don't get shit in return, and they feel like people don't like them. If you give them respect, they're going to give it back to you. They may not, but at least here's the other thing. Now, someone sees that and goes, oh, that dude, Mike, he had... I think somebody from those areas like Ace Aceto or Scott Higgins or some fuckers like that put on shows. And you're like, they had them on their show. Now, I listened to their podcast. They mentioned Mike. Mike must be good at comedy. That's how booking works. If your face is on a flyer or you're just mentioned.
No, yeah, it's easier than
your act. They just want to hear the name. When I first started, I traveled all over New England. I went to open mics in Maine and Vermont. And drove hours. Why? Because all of a sudden, then someone goes, dude, you're kind of funny. Would you come up next week and do my showcase in 7 minutes? I'll give you $15. And me and my 3 friends are getting cars, combine the money we got, do gas rides, make faces on a flyer. Now somebody from New Hampshire hits me up and goes, oh, I saw you're on a flyer. Are you a host? I'm like, yeah, I'm a host. And they're like, whatever. And like, boom, come on out, $25 host. All right, my face is on that flyer. So, well, this guy's working all over. I'm not working. I'm struggling. I'm not making a dime, but I'm getting stage time, and I'm not afraid of hitting any mic. There's no thoughts about worry or struggle. It's just like I'm going up and doing it, and all of a sudden my name was out there, and I ain't done shit.
Wow.
It's about the hustle.
It really is. No, like you're exactly right. Like obviously, like when you're young, like you said, like you get jealous and you overthink everything. You're like, oh, this guy just like fucking might hate me, whatever. You make excuses in your own head.
Make it personal, and it's not personal. What's
exactly.
Personal? Like if you fuck their wife, it's personal.
Oh yeah. Or you say
also
something
fucked their
shitty
wife.
to them.
That's a great bit to have. Like,
I
remember
know.
when I fucked your wife?
And you're booked on their show. She's in.
Wait, I'm not opening because your wife opened for me. Yeah, you like that bit? There you
go. What year did you start stand-up comedy?
I started late. I started when I was 33, so 13 years ago. I've been doing it in July next year. It'll be 14 years. And it's by accident. I didn't I never thought of doing comedy. My friends
That's
all told
how
me
I
I was that guy. Everyone tells you you're funny, whatever. Long story short, a buddy of mine hit me up one day and goes, "Hey, at a bar, there's a comedy contest. We should go laugh at the people at the bar." I didn't know he signed me up for it. We went. There was 3 other fucking people in it, a magician, the fry cook of the bar, and a fucking guy who just lost his job. $100 prize. There were 3 judges, the owner of the bar, the son of the owner of the bar, and a girl they were both trying to fuck, like American Idol style, sitting there. They made it apparent. We're watching it. They're all terrible. And they go, "We have one more comedian." And they read it. They go, "Pat Oates." I look at my friend. I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You can do this." So I went up. I shit on the judges. I shit on the bar. I shit on the other comics. And I won $100.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's
so
an awesome first story.
Well, my friend turns to me and goes, "You're better than 3 people. That's a start. Now go figure it out." This is how old this story is. The next day I went home and I went on MySpace and I searched comedians in my area. And I found a woman named Linda Belt, who was a comic out of West Hartford area. And she lived kind of near me where I was living at the time. And I said, "How do I get into comedy?" And she goes, "Well, there's an open mic in Hartford." And then now the guy who ran that mic is now one of my best friends in comedy, Darren Rivera. And he was like, "Yeah, come down to this mic." I went there. I got to see what I thought were like, wow, these are professional comedians. And they're just, now they all open for me. But at the time, they were people doing it. And I got to watch all these people and learn what it was. And I was hooked. It was like heroin. It was like, but you're chasing in the same way I haven't done heroin because a comic, we can't afford heroin. We don't have fancy drugs like that. But
yeah.
I wanted to chase that first laugh. The first laugh I ever got is still the greatest laugh I've ever gotten. No matter what, it's the most raw. You didn't expect it. The first time you get a laugh, you're like, oh shit, humans are laughing at what I did. I mean, so the next time you try to do it the same way, and you're like, it doesn't work, and you bomb.
Yeah.
You're chasing that forever. But that's how I started. By thank God my buddy just like, "Fuck you, let's do this."
I've been chasing. Yeah, no, he's the fucking man for doing that. Like, just any friend that like believes in their buddy like that. Like, if he really thought you were,
I think he also wanted to embarrass you. I think he was hoping I failed. I mean, he says it nicely now, but I'm pretty sure he wanted to watch his friend be an asshole and bomb. They go, "You're not funny, see you fuck," but it didn't work. Thank God those 3 other guys sucked.
Oh yeah, well, dude, $100 in your first fucking night of comedy. That's
one guy
unreal.
needed it. He lost his job. He's like, "I need this money." It felt so good to be him.
Damn.
Like, God hates you, bro.
But like you said, like you're chasing your first laugh. Like when I was like 2 or 3 months into the comedy game, I got a standing ovation at this place called Thunder Comedy Bar, and that was like what fucking hooked me, sunk me, and like had me ready to go, ready to do like this for the rest of my life. But I didn't really know the steps I had to take because I kind of just winged it. Like I was using like similar sets that I am now, not with the same punchlines. Like it wasn't as good, but it just worked in that moment, and the spur of the moment.
You were enjoying yourself. You get lost in the moment, and the audience didn't think it was an act. It felt real. That's where applause breaks come from. When you connect, when it resonates. The difference between someone who just does a funny line and someone says it hits. Whenever you said that night, there's people now who, when they hear a word you said, if you talked about fishing and they see someone fishing, they go, "Huh, dude, remember that dude at Thunder Bar?" And he said that. That's the shit we want to do. That's where that comes from.
Exactly.
That's the difference between being a good comic and being a comic that fucking people want to see again. They can see you, but you're not memorable. That's where the work comes in. Now you got to chase that thing you did, and you have to listen to that act. You can't recreate how you said it that night, the feeling that was that night. But if you can train your brain to always perform it that way, then you'll start to understand how to do that with other jokes. You take that cookie cutter and you make it work with other shit.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
It takes about 2 or 3 years just to even know what your voice is. You might think you know who you are on stage right now.
I'm just finding it now, I think.
And that's all, because when you started, you were like, think I'm this guy. I'm like this guy. I'm like Bill Burr. I'm like,
no, that's who I want to be, Bill Burr.
Of course you did. Well, everybody was, man, you can't. That's what you want to do all day. And then we hear that in open mics all fucking day.
Oh, I know. But
there's one Burr. You know what I mean?
I know.
A great story about Burr. There's a great comic named Mike Hanley. Yeah. And when he first started, he did open mics with Burr when Burr was just starting. And Bill, for everyone that thinks Bill Burr's the greatest, we all sucked at the beginning. Because Bill Burr, one of his jokes was he'd go on stage and go, "Hi, my name's Bill Burr, and I have a brother, Tim Burr." That's a fucking Bill Burr joke, okay?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but we all start somewhere, okay?
Yeah, sure.
My joke sucks. If you work hard, you become Bill Burr and not Tim Burr.
Wow. like so like everyone like has this idea about like the old school like Boston guys, like they were coming up. There was that group like
Yeah,
Bill
you're in that. That's that mafia shit, yo.
Oh
Tony
yeah.
V, fucking Sweeney, the fucking killers who never need to leave. Lenny Clark's the only one that leaves.
And well, Lenny doesn't have to, but also I think he just gets sick of like playing at his brother's that chuckles all the time or giggles all
I
the
don't
time.
think so. I think he likes going to a place where he's the fucking god. I mean, he's the god everywhere. He's awesome. But
I
like,
know.
so
Dude,
many
he has
guys don't
so much
leave, and they're
fucking
all
respect.
just beasts. They're just even the guys who are considered the young dudes, like Noonan and shit, and
I
Sullivan,
know.
and those guys. They're not young dudes. They're like been doing it for a long time, but they have to fucking pay their dues. Like Joe List came out of there, Shane Moss, and fucking Tom Dustin and Dan
I
Crone.
know.
There's so many fucking awesome comics who don't get out of there because when you get in, it's such a work to get in. You know, it's crazy. But like now, there's so many young guys who are now that you will think are the top guys. Who, when I was going to Boston doing stuff, they were the young dudes. You know, it's like, and it's crazy. Like Sam Ike, who I fucking find hilarious. When I first started going to Boston doing stuff, he was like the young guy hitting mics and stuff, and now he's he's a killer. But it's the work you put in and there. But that one, you're in Boston. You could make a decision at one point. Do I leave Boston and grow as a comic, or do I put this work in? Do I commit? And then hopefully one day I'm Tony V.
Yeah,
which is why I always say that. And if anyone's watching, they're like, "Who the fuck's Tony V?" If you're in Boston, you know who the fuck Tony V is.
No, yeah,
not
exactly.
In Boston, you don't know who the fuck he is.
The surprising thing about my show is it's not a lot of Boston listeners. No. I get a couple hundred in Boston. The majority of my viewership is in New York, LA, Canada, and Russia.
People want to check out other shit. My podcast is number 7 in Finland. I don't know. What
really? That's awesome.
I don't know what the fuck I've checked it out. We dropped down last week to like 14. I'm like, oh, what did I do, Finland? My bad.
Yeah, you had to pick it back up to get on the.
It's just whatever the algorithm picks up and does whatever. But you're gonna find right away, wherever you perform, wherever you do your thing, that scene will always look at you as how they first met you. So
that's completely right.
Fucking that guy, the open mic guy stinks. I've been by some people in Connecticut still go, oh, that guy Pat who used to run that comedy club, like that was 10 years ago. I've been headlining places, but it's like when your friends in high school go, oh, you can't be like a real comic. You're the guy I went to high school with. And I understand that mentality. Like, how many people do you know are like doctors? You're like, you give me a doctor. I watch you do bong hits. Like, so it's like, it's that same
doctor.
Kind
I did a perk
thing.
with you last month.
Yeah. It's like your mom blew me. I'm back to fucking your mom again. That's all I'm doing. It's fucking your mom. It's the same guy. I'm ruining his life, but it's that same mentality. So you're not going to get the Boston people.
Yeah.
And you know what? You don't need the Boston people. It doesn't even really matter where they're watching. It's cool to check it out, but it doesn't matter. What matters is somebody, one person write a comment.
Wants it, yeah.
That was the shit. Hey, or someone else like, hey, and someone random that you don't know retweets a thing and goes, yo, this podcast makes me laugh every week. Check it out. That's the shit. That's the connection you're getting from
I've had that.
Right. And it's the coolest feeling. You're reaching people who you don't know exist and they know you do. We're doing the right thing when we do that. We're becoming people's like escape from shit. And getting back to the Boston thing, the guys who were the big stars in Boston had to like decide, am I going to commit to this? So because of that, it's a very tough club to get in. Not the Boston club, like the club of Boston.
That's why I was
what
talking.
What road do you do? You go and you go the Rick Jenkins route and you commit to the studio, which by the way, say what you want. The guy who wrote the forward of my book is Rick Jenkins.
Oh, really?
Did I ever work the studio? I was there twice. I wasn't a comic that he looked at as the kind of guy that worked the studio, but he respected my hustle. He loved all my articles. He was the guy that would start sharing my articles. Wow. This is great. This is how you speak to people. And so one day I reached out to him. I said, would you write the forward? He said, absolutely. He helped me promote the book and push it out there with the people out there and recommends it to people. And it's a guy who believes in stuff. Now, I'm not a Boston guy, so I'd never get into that club. I only got admitted to the Boston Comedy Festival one time, and I didn't even go because I was like, I just wanted to get in. I just wanted to prove I can get in. I'm not gonna win. I'm not a Boston comic. I'm not gonna win this against other guys.
Yeah. You have to be like in the Boston tight knit group to even win that, though.
You got to choose to do that thing.
Yeah.
No, that was some funny guys that won it. Like, I love Drew Dunn.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
Drew Dunn's like he's a killer. He's gonna be fucking
When Drew first started, I met him, but he was coming to Foxwoods and doing like little opening things and stuff like that. And we became friends. And me, him, and another guy named Brian Plum started just doing shows there. We booked a bunch of shows and did like a little dumb mini tour of New England and stuff. And I've known Drew since he first started. And now it's awesome to see him all over the place and doing what he does. But like, that's the kind of people you see their hustle. But Drew decided, yes, I'll take advantage of Boston as much as I can. But the second I get all I can out of Boston, I'm getting the fuck out of Boston.
That's my plan.
Do it. That's the plan. But you don't know what the plan's going to be. I'm sure Sweeney didn't think he wouldn't be traveling the world. You know what I mean? But like, if you can sit there and crush and be a murderer there, then do it. Why not do it? You know, like all those guys that can do that shit, you might as well stay there. Some guy, what the fuck's that guy's name? Dave Russo. Dave Russo is not a good dude, but what? He's a funny guy. They all love him in Boston. Why would he leave? Why would he leave? He's a killer there. He's not going to be a killer somewhere else. Sometimes. And that's like when you watch a comic do the same act forever, like for 10 years, you're like, why are you doing the same act? Sometimes some people are afraid of change. Big in Boston, like, why would I want to leave this and have to prove myself again? Now, I think the greatest thing about comedy is having to prove yourself. I love walking into a room where they don't know who I am. And I walk out and they know who the fuck I am.
Comedy is made by nobodies, so that's the thing. You gotta go back to being a nobody here again and like so forth. Like you can't always,
if that's how you thrive.
Yeah, exactly.
There are
that's
some people who don't. Some people need to be big fish, small pond, or they can't do it. I know comics who've been doing the same act for 30 years because they built this thing that works. Like, why would I do it again? Like,
and also, it's like
I'll scrap an act all the time because I want to recreate because I love the creation process.
Yeah,
some people just love the entertainment process, but we're both doing the same purpose, so I can't shit on them for what they do.
A lot of times too, like the people that have done their act, like I think this is what I've noticed from like the older guys that have done the same act forever. It's like became a part of who they are in a way, like that they're just like you said, they're scared to let it go. You know what I mean?
Because it works, and if they let it go, then the young kid who's got new shit is going to take their spot. If they don't get a laugh that night, then all of a sudden, boom, you're popping up the new guy, and then you're out of it. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's what those young guys are waiting for, that fail.
Oh yeah,
or the death. You're waiting for all the old ones to die just to get the spot. That's what it is. But at the end of the day, it's whatever works. People always shit on the word hack. Hacks kill. Why?
Oh yeah.
Because, I know why they kill? Because they do familiarity. They're not stealing. That's the funny thing. If you're a musician, you can play every Beatles song, and everyone's like, "Yeah, dude, you're rocking that Beatles song." But if you're a comic and you go up and do fucking, Daniel Tosh's act, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, it's a different world in that way. But the biggest thing a comic wants to do is connect, right? You want to connect. You want to make sure the thing you're talking about makes sense to the audience.
Yeah, and they understand
Hacks
everything.
to generalizations. The airport. And nowadays, like, oh, you go get your vaccine and whatever. They're going to do a thing that you understand because that's easy. When you take the chances and you get them to connect off your personality and what you work on, that becomes the difference between a guy who's a hack who could crush by doing the local references. It's like, you know about Quincy? And everyone's like, Quincy. Like, that one store that you go to get fucking blunts? And they're like, blunts. And it wouldn't work when they go to the next city. So when they go to the next city, they'll come to you as an opener and go, hey, what's a town that all the black people live in? You're like, what? And they're like, yeah, give me a black people town. And so you give them that, and then they go on stage and go, I'm not going to Bridgeport. And then the crowd goes, wait. They find a code to do the same thing. Now, when I used to open for guys like that, I would give them the wrong names.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they'd be like, give me a town that has nothing but black people. And I'd give them a town that's like the whitest bullshit town. And they would say it, and the crowd's like, what? And it's like, yeah, fuck you, dude. Write a joke, bitch.
Well, Connecticut's like very rich. I haven't spent a lot of time.
No, it's not. That's a misconception. There are places that have money, like Greenwich, and there's like Avon, Connecticut. There's some towns, but there's also Bridgeport, New Haven. Look them up. There's fucking murder capitals of the world. There's a lot of poor people too. But the rich parts are the parts that are close to the good parts. If you live in Greenwich and Stamford and all that stuff, you have money because you're going to New York for your business.
Yeah, well, that's right, like on the border, right? Yeah.
Right. Like there's Massachusetts has a ton of money in parts. You live in Cape Cod, you ain't poor. You know what I mean?
It depends. There's a lot of people. So my father owns.
I just made a generalization, and you told me right away it depends.
I'll tell you, dude. I spend a lot of time down the Cape. My father owns a roofing company, Brookline Roofing. Don't look it up because it brings up the address to my house online. But
why would you say that? Now they're gonna look it up, bro.
No, people have already looked it up. They all know. They all know. I'm trying to get out of here.
Don't do this thing I don't want you to do. Here's how to do it.
All right, so my dad owns a roofing company, so we go down there at his buddy in Chatham. Do you know Chatham? It's like kind of on the point of the Cape. His buddy owns like a bunch of buildings down there, so we go down there every winter to go work on the roof when there's no snow, like just patch it up, get it ready for the summer, do what we got to do. And we stay at this place called I can't believe I forget the name, but it's the shittiest motel. So every hotel and motel in the winter in the Cape, there's people that live there year round. They make a deal to for the whole winter. They cut a deal with whoever owns its manager to hey, I'll give you, I can afford like $25 a night, and I'll stay here for 2 months. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, they got to make their money during the off season.
Yeah, and there's nowhere else to go, and it's just such a fucking sad place. There's drugs everywhere, and the thing is, there's no one there. When it's like a tourist town, the summers are awesome, but the winters are cold, man. I'll tell you that.
Block Island, places like that. It's like when you don't have the business going, it's just the scary things that live there and feed off the tourists. So that's what it's all like. And that's why it's like Jamaica. Like you wouldn't go digging, or Cancun. You don't leave the white people part. You get murdered. Like you can go to the certain area and that's it. But you're right. Everything has its good spots and bad spots. Like in Connecticut, there's like Fairfield, Connecticut. People know that has money. Fairfield's on the line of Bridgeport. You go one step over. Yale, part of New England. People are sending. Politicians' kids are going to Yale.
Yeah.
It's one little circle. You go one step outside and you are in the fucking hood and you're getting shot. It's right there. It's like two steps. You get drunk and walk down the road, you're fucked. So it's like everything has that. Now, the beauty of that is you perform in a place in that town where all those people come together and for 1 minute they're laughing all the same shit.
I know. Yeah, that is a beautiful thing if you really think about it. Because that's like the great equalizer, comedy. If something's funny, it's funny. You know what I mean? Maybe not everyone has like a little bit of a different style, but for the most case, if you have a great joke, everyone's gonna get a chuckle at least out of it. You know what I mean?
And that's another big thing with a lot of comics they caught up on. They look at the audience and go, "Oh, this joke's not gonna work because there's this age of people or this race of people or this and that." Fuck you. It's our job to relate to everyone. You have to make your joke universal. You have to make it connect. Now, you don't have to talk down or over-explain it, but you do have to make it so they get it. Yeah. You're going to talk about fucking a TV show. You're going to talk about, something on Disney Plus right now, and some guy's like, I don't fucking have Disney Plus. Does he not get to have the joke? Does he not get to enjoy it? You can still make the joke work by the framing around it making sense. That's how you make everyone laugh. You should be able to make a fat black woman, a gay man, and then somebody with nubs for hands all laugh at the same shit. You shouldn't have to know different things. I mean, you're not going to get an applause break from the nubs guy, but you're going to get a nub break, and that's cool. Like you gotta make sure they all get it, and that's a part that a lot of comics like to go, well, I bombed because of this. This is the reason. No, the reason's you. If they don't laugh or get
that's
it,
the one thing I'm good at.
You need to fail. If you walk off a stage and say you killed, you're lying. Because you're not killing. Because if you killed all the time, quit. You did it. You won the video game. It's over. Because Jerry Seinfeld kills, and he's not quitting yet. Mm-hmm. He's still chasing it. The biggest comics in the world are still doing it. So it's not that. And you also can't bomb. I think I can't make that more clear. You don't bomb. Bombing means you failed. You fail. That's the only way you learn.
You only fail when you give up.
I record it. You listen to it. That's the best part to me. I try a new joke. It doesn't hit, but I know it can work. Why didn't it work? Is it the way I said it? Is it where it was in the act? Is it the way I delivered it? Is it that was I not clear in my message? Listen back right away, write down what you do, and then throw away that recording because you don't want to overanalyze it, and then hit a mic right away and try it a different way. And all of a sudden you find the rough, right? The diamonds, boom, it's chilling in there, and you find that thing. But you don't blame everyone else. Yeah, it might have failed, but it's not about them. They're an audience. They don't fucking work at being an audience. They're shitheads. Yeah. They're not fun. We work. They've never been collectively together as a people. They don't know what the fuck to do. They're dummies. If they were smart, they'd write jokes, but they're not. They need us because we're twisted and we make them laugh. So if they don't laugh, you have to make them laugh and make them get it. Unless they're a dickhead, then they're not going to make a dickhead laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can't blame it on the crowd unless there is like someone in the crowd. Like, have you ever been in the crowd and the heckler like wins like the battle and like
not
he's getting, dude?
That's kind of my thing. Like,
that happened to me once when I was like early in the comedy, and I was like, holy shit, I just felt like a piece of complete shit. That's the worst.
You weren't ready for that yet.
Yeah, no, I wasn't ready for a heckler. I went up and I just told stories. I told a story, but I got robbed by a transgender woman when I was selling weed online. And like that, it worked, and then he just came at me and like belittled me, and he just got me.
I always tell comics, if you're gonna do anything and there's a heckler that won't stop, the best thing in the world you can do with your act is make sure in the first couple, even if you're a storyteller, you still should have something you say at the very beginning that's about 20 to 30 seconds long that gets a laugh.
Yes,
you need to gain their trust. The second they trust you and they can unfold their arms and go, "This dude's funny," they will now have your back. If you go up and you're like, "Oh, well, look, the bathrooms here are stupid, and you're fat and gay," and they're not laughing, they don't like you. And then when a guy yells out, "You suck," they go, "Yeah,
this guy sucks."
Now, if you got them to laugh right away and they uncross their arms and the guy yells, "You suck," they're not going to cheer it on. You don't need to say anything. The best thing you could do is the old teacher move. You just fucking stare at them. I've done that. I'm literally telling my joke, and a guy yells a thing, I stop. I just fucking stare at the guy. And then they feels that silence. Now, most people, unless they're super drunk, are going to feel that embarrassment and shut up.
Yeah,
or the person next to them is going to say, "Dude, shut the fuck up." And then if that doesn't work, I know now how to battle with those people and do it, because you don't go conversational, you go observational. If you go conversational and you allow them to say something back, they could be funnier than you. A drunk could say something that could bury you. You might think you're the quickest in the world, but they got that one moment in time, and if the audience feels like you could lose that, shut them down in a way. And I know how to do that. But if you don't, you literally say, I don't care if it's a bar show, whatever. There's someone that's running that show. "Hey, man, somebody shut this guy up. I'm trying to have fun. That's all I'm trying to do."
Yeah.
And you continue. And you turn and you don't face that person. You face someone else who's laughing. You tell the joke to them, and then the moth like a flame thing happens. Everyone else, they're like, why are they all laughing? Oh shit! They go pay attention more, and now they shut up. That's the best way, is by ignoring them, because they're attention whores. They're mad they're not on stage. That guy,
you're exactly right.
Say, "Dude, I was helping, man. I was making it better." Like, no, you don't get it. Well, I'm gonna try it. Good. I'm gonna go in the audience and shit on you. What? Yeah, I'm gonna come help you, and I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna ruin your life. Like, "Oh, don't do that."
I'm gonna fuck your wife,
now.
Your mom.
I'm working. I'm chasing a dream, and you're a dickhead. Get out of here. We're not friends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's why, like, I'm right now. I actually want to plug this. So I'm working on starting an open mic in my town.
Nice.
And like, obviously, like small town. I live in Dedham, first town outside of Boston. Small town. People know me as the kid in high school that would get in trouble every day for skipping class to go smoke weed in the parking lot. I actually got arrested by the DEA when I was in high school. They wanted to make a point out of me, and
nice.
It ruined a lot of things I had going for me, man.
Yeah, that's kind of what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you know that. They're not there to make you a champion.
But yeah, that's like how they know me as, and like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what you were saying, like you want to be a doctor, I know you as this. And like, that's what I'm worried about. Like, because if I'm going to do an open mic in my town, there's going to be a lot of kids that come out. Obviously, Boston, a lot of drunks, a lot of fucking
drunks,
people that run their mouth all the time. Like, I just don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if there's going to be people showing up freaking jealous of me, like, so I'm doing this, or like people that come to support it good, or just people that want to freaking destroy it. You know what I mean? But We'll see.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and maybe they will, but you don't even need them to come, because open mics aren't about the audience.
No, I know, but
but that's what I'm saying. If you set a tone where the comics respect it, then it will work. Yeah. Now, yes, you want people to drink and go to it so the place doesn't shut it down. But when I used to pitch open mics to bars, they'd be like, "So I have a night that's slow. Are you going to make it good?" I'm like, "No, you're a bar owner. You should have better ideas." No, I'm not going to help anything. Here's what I guarantee you. I'll have 10 people, sometimes 12, show up, buy 1 or 2 drinks, possibly some wings. So if you make $200 on a Tuesday, you might make $350 on a Tuesday. But if you let people know that this is happening and put little flyers and things, because this is your fucking place, put it up inside the bar, a couple of your drunks may turn around and watch, buy another drink. A couple other people that like comedy, that didn't know where comedy was in an area, may come see it. It'll be something there. But no, it's not something like that. And I would say, now give me $100. I got to pay for it? Yeah, you got to pay for it because you got to respect what the fuck I do. I'm bringing.
If you're driving a crowd, especially
even if you're not driving a crowd, you're selling them a service.
Yeah.
When the beer salesman comes in, he doesn't just give them the beer and then make money off the door, right? No, the jukebox guy doesn't do that either. Why do we
that's a funny concept.
But it's a real thing. When I would sell it to people, I'm like, I'm selling you a service. I know what I'm doing. You wanted this thing. I'm selling. Like, well, I don't want something like that. I want people to come and stay and drink. Good. Then fuck open mic. Do you have a back room somewhere? Because I'm not going to do a real show in your fucking bar when there's TVs on. I'm not going to do that. I need to respect. Yeah, I have a back room. Perfect. You're going to sell tickets. You're going to give me $1,000 to put on the show. And then whoa, paying? Yeah, you're paying and you're going to promote and you're going to make your money back. I'm once again selling you a service. I don't like the door things. I don't do it because I want to bring people in that will make them laugh. And I'll put on the best show. You make it fucking work. That's your job to get people in your. If you make a place promote, even if it's like you ask for $25 to open mic. Even if that's all you want to get. You want to get enough money in your pocket to make it worth your while.
Exactly. That's what
$25 to give me some wings, something like that. That's perfect. It makes it worth it while for you. They want to make their $25 back. Get some table tents. Ask your beer distributor to make a table tent saying open mic with Mike with Denham's own Mikey Linehan. Boom. They put that on there. And then people are gonna see that in the bar. Oh shit, Mikey's doing a thing here. They promote within. Become a business with them. Yeah. Make them work with you, not sit back. And if it works, they make money. And if it's not, who cares? I didn't spend anything. That's the problem. The ones that fail are the ones that the guy's like, well, I'm not making any money. Fuck you.
Yeah,
so it's not worth it. But you need them to commit too. And if they're not willing to do that,
it's not a good partnership. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they got to believe in that place.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
But it takes balls because now you got to be a salesman too, and that's the other part of this business. A lot of people that are comics, if I was good at business, I'd have a real job. Like that's the hard part.
Well, that's why I'm kind of like an outsider in a way. Like a lot of comedians, like they don't. There are a lot of them are pussies. I'll say it like this. Like I work for my dad.
They don't want to fight. If the second the comics are talking shit, I was the first guy when some guys like little nerdy comics to be like, "Fuck you, dude." I go. Want to go outside? Like, wow, we don't fight. I'm like, yeah, I do. I fight.
yeah. Like, what is this? Like you're talking shit. But like, I grew up like I worked for my fucking father's roofing company. Shitty work in the winters. Me, my older brother, my little brother, we all plow the streets in Newton, Mass, for the town, and that's a great job. Like I'm like kind of like an outlier because I've worked jobs like that. Not most comedians, they've either. I hate to say it, but they either just live off their parents or
yes and no. I think something to do, but
young ones, like I'm saying, like my age.
Some, but the ones you don't know about, some people feel like they have to put on an air. And I think they'd rather say they don't have to work and do whatever when in real life they're doing work, but they think that's a bad thing to share. Yeah. Then later on in life, you find out they weren't being taken care of by their. Some of them think they got to put on this fucking air. No, yeah, the ones that are, some of them are like that. But if you think about how many comics were bricklayers, or how many comics were like you roofer, Adam Carolla made a career, not really a comic, I did all that. Anthony Cumia did that fucking first. There's so many guys that were up there.
Bill Burr was a roofer. His dad owned a roofing company too. Yeah.
That's his joke he has. I did it for one. He told that joke. It was the hardest 8 hours of my life.
I can't believe his name was. I can't believe the Timber joke. I'm gonna tell people about that. That shock, because that just makes me think. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off, because like,
no, not at all.
I have been thinking about that, because I'm thinking like, damn, that's like who I was. I had some fucking shit jokes at the beginning. Like,
my first joke that hit was, "My name's Pat Oates. I'm so Irish. My name's Potatoes." And people started calling me Potatoes, and it became this fucking thing where I couldn't get away from it. And there's a potato. It wasn't like funny. And then like I got my first chance to host a show at the Funny Bone in Connecticut, and I didn't even have the material really to host. They're like, can you do 8 to 10? I go, I think so, but I had this potatoes joke, so I would do other Irish jokes, but it all merited on this one joke. And I was about to go on stage, the guy in the back with like the voice of God mic, he's like, "All right, you guys ready for your big show?" And they're all cheer. First up's your host. He's so Irish, his name looks like potatoes. Pat, and I walk up like, fuck, he did my joke. So I go up and I'm like, did you guys hear that guy? Because if you didn't, you're gonna like this.
Yeah, it took the wind completely out of your sail.
And I learned right away I need to write better, because That's a thing. That guy, it's not that guy's fault. I can get mad all I want. That's not his fault. He's heard me say that potato thing in every mic. That's why he got me. So he's like, yeah, that's him. He must have more, but I didn't. That made me go, you can't just depend on one thing. You can't be the fat guy in a Hawaiian shirt. What if the shirt rips? What if it gets lost in the wash? Now you don't have an act. I knew a guy that used to do shows, and he had a joke about thumbs. And he'd have a bag with little hot dogs in it, and he would say, like, thumbs. And then he got a chance to be on a show, and he goes, I can't do it. Like, why? He's like, I got no hot dogs. I'm like, you can't do your act because you don't have little hot dogs? Then he had to go to Nathan's, cut up hot steaming hot dogs, and the bag was all filled with steam. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? You got to learn to do the act without the shirt or the hat or the fucking wording. You got to have more than that. That's what I learned from that shit.
I've been like, I do this weird thing. I dress the same to all my like open mic shows, just in hopes that like, hey, maybe someone will be like, I didn't remember this guy's name, but I can see him again. Like if they see me again, they're like, oh, I remember that guy. He's funny. Like that's stupid. Like I don't know why I do that.
It's okay. So when you go to work, a lot of times you find an outfit you like at work. If you're working outdoors, there's a hat you like, there's a shirt you like. It makes you feel like you're at work. Whatever makes you comfortable. Now, if the shirt says like, I'd rather be fucking your mom or something, and your whole thing is the shirt's funnier than you, then that's no good.
I hate
But if it's just your work outfit,
it's just a flannel shirt.
He wears a black shirt.
Yeah.
That's his thing. That's what he likes to wear on stage. Some people wear hats, they do whatever. Do what you do. You want to feel comfortable. So if an outfit helps you to feel comfortable, if certain shoes help you feel comfortable, if having a drink or a glass of water on stage makes you feel comfortable, whatever you do to get you in the mindset to move and go, do it.
Yeah, exactly.
If something happened and you were like at a funeral and then you had to go right to a show, you want to be able to have the mindset where you can like, I can do this in a suit, or I can at least take the jacket off and not be like, oh my God, my outfit, I can't perform. That part. That can happen to some people. But yeah, if you're going to perform, you should, if you're a guy who likes hoodies and you're comfortable in hoodies, you should wear a hoodie on stage. If you like that, if that's your thing, but don't force a thing. I'm going to wear a suit because then people will respect me. Well, not if you stink. You're just a shitty guy in a suit.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you see that a lot. Like, I don't understand. Like, I hate to like make fun of people, but like the show at Mohegan Sun.
I think it's great.
You never know who's listening though, and especially they can get my address pretty easily. So that's the problem.
I'll give out mine too. Fuck, you ready?
but I just don't understand. Like for some reason, there's some like younger guys that like I think they got like the handbook from like the 1970s stand-up world. Like they're showing up in suits, they're telling jokes that don't even fucking hit nowadays. Like who do you think you are? You want to be fucking?
They think they're that comic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. They're lost in a thing. They're the guy who goes to a party and yells out Jim Carrey lines from a movie, and then girls.
And no one's seeing the movie.
It's like, well, they have, but at the party, they all knew the movie. When they were funny back then, they knew the movie.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that guy. That guy either has to adapt and move on, or he'll find his niche. Yeah, that guy loves comedy. That guy will end up booking a fucking like a show that's a nonprofit fundraiser, and he'll book that one, make himself host for 10 minutes. He'll suck, but he'll give you $300 for a spot that's worth $50 because he gets so much money because he became popular as a hack. So believe in that. Don't ever tell that guy he's funny, but be like, hey man, I appreciate what you do. That's what I say to them. I appreciate what you do. Like I would never get a hooker, but I appreciate what they do. You know,
dude,
what I mean?
I've been hooked up a few times. I'm only 22.
Hooked up? Is that what they call it?
That's what I call it.
Like a fish.
That guy's my address out. I'm telling people I paid for sex.
Yeah, I like that. The hooker's like, oh, now I can find them. He beat me for $20.
Yeah, you know where to go. What else? What's your favorite? Actually, I have a few. Let me get to the questions that my fans sent in. I mean, just not even my fans, mostly my friends. I consider my podcast viewers the ones
they're your fans and they're your friends. They are. Yeah. They become friends. Some of the people I talk with the most on Twitter are people that just like my podcast or know me from shows I did. I don't know them. There's people in Canada that I talk to all the time.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I got the first one. What's your favorite club in New England to perform at?
It's definitely Comix. It's just because they've taken care of me forever. I've known them. They become my family. I worked for them. The Browse and Mark Weisenthal are just amazing people. I love that club. But there was a club called City Steam Brewery. They had a thing called the Brouhaha in Hartford. That closed down. Now they're kind of putting on shows again. But that club I loved being at because it was small and intimate. And they were on top of you and the waves left. But yeah, if Comix or you know what, to be honest with you, any place that hires me, I like. But there's some places you feel comfortable. But yeah, I love that one. And I love another one I love, and I do it for the guy all the time. Rob Steen has stuff at Headliners Comedy Club in Manchester, New Hampshire. That club, every time you go, the audiences are awesome. The crowds are all into it. They run the things well. It just, I love performing. But yeah, if I want to feel comfortable,
if you ever get
like
booked,
I go home. I know all the wait staff at Comix. I know everyone there. I know the sound guys. They're my friends. So it's like cool.
Well, that's like your club. You know what I mean? Like that's where you're working out the most. So like obviously like that's gonna be a fair. But if you ever do headliners and you need an opener, feel free to hit me.
He doesn't usually let you do it, but if you ever let someone do a guest spot, I'll fucking talk to him without doubt. I'll be there. I'm not doing the Manchester one, but I'm doing Nassau May 20th and 21st for the weekend. And I'll always ask if he'll let a guest spot happen. He doesn't usually do that, but if he does, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Well, I don't want to hold your wrist to the fire for it, but no, it'd be cool because
don't hold my hand. Tell me I'm pretty. Don't hold my wrist to a fire. How dare you?
Wait, is that the expression?
No, I'm pretty sure. No, it might be.
I don't know.
You hold something to the fire. Hold my foot to the fire?
It could. I don't know.
I don't think it's a wrist. I think you slit my wrist.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna do that. Hopefully.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Let me slit my own wrist.
The dude in Arkansas that now knows where Brookline Roofing is located is gonna slit my wrist. What's your
fire? I combined them.
This is a heavy hitter question for my buddy Matthew Scarlett. I met him in Israel. I've been there. I'll talk about this after. This is what
am I gonna have to talk about Israel?
Yeah, dude. If you like it, that's cool. If you hate it, that's awesome because that's gonna make it even more interesting.
Like when you take the word together, it's like Israel, baby. It's real as it gets.
Dude, the chicks there are definitely fucking real.
Yeah, they keep in line or they get killed.
All right, but this is a question sent in by my good buddy from Israel, Matthew Scarlett. He said, "What's your favorite sex position?" He's a little weird.
Missionary. Everyone always makes fun of me. I'm vanilla as can be. I like eye contact, my friends. I think if you're turning around, first of all, if you're turning around, you don't care about them. I want to look you in the dumb eyes and know that you want to be there. I'm a fan of it. Listen, and I also I'm a big fan of their legs being open and me getting right in, turning around. I don't like buttholes, so I don't want to be near one. They're gross. I don't like butts.
Yeah.
That's not my thing.
I don't like the movement going towards eating ass in my age group.
I will not eat an ass.
I've done it, dude. It fucked my mouth up for like a month.
Yeah, and it fucks their butt up for a month. I don't know why we need arts and crafts. Pussy is fantastic. I don't know why we have to put a clamp in the mouth and do dumb shit. If you have to do other shit, you don't like sex. If you have to if someone's like, please hurt me, it's like, that's your issues. I'm not that guy. No thanks. I like just sex. Now I'll try other things. Listen, if a girl's on top of me, I enjoy that too. If she's good at it, but if she's just jumping up and down,
that's the worst. Yeah, she's fucking hurting. I also like
that lazy side. If there's a girl you're with and you can be comfortable with that lazy
morning
side
sex.
Move.
That's morning sex. Yeah, when you're just laying on your side.
Yeah, man. She just turns her side of it, and you're just like, you're just a little hip action. It's not. I like that. That's a good move, and that's kind of like doggy. But I'm not a doggy guy. And people yell at me all the time. Women are like, I can't believe you don't like that. It feels good for me. I'm like, I know it does, and I'll try it, but I don't like the angles. I have a bad foot. It's all weird shit.
I can't do doggy.
I just like getting on top. No matter what, if a woman gets naked for me, even if we break up and I hate her afterwards, I will always thank her for the chances that she let me see her naked. I'll salute her. I appreciate you. Thank you for your pussy.
Yes, that's a good way to look at it. And speaking of pussy, you have a kid?
I have two.
Really?
But they're not kids. They're like one's 19 and one's 15.
Oh shit!
They come to all my comedy shows whenever they want. They've been going to shows forever since they were little. They love comedy. Yeah, I'm divorced, but yeah, I got divorced like 10 years ago. Comedy ruined the marriage. Like I fell in comedy love of comedy more than her. And that really is a thing.
Well, it's easy to do it.
Hey, she's remarried. We still parent well together. I see my kids all the time. So yeah, I love my kids. And yeah, I did get pussy those 2 times.
Yeah, word. That's nice. That's nice. But so that's a good question then. So say your 15-year-old kid came up to you and was like, Dad, I want to go try stand-up. Like as a 15-year-old.
I'd be like, why? I love you. Yeah. I loved you. I did everything I was supposed to make you not do this.
Yeah, true. You don't get in.
I already know they don't want to, but if they wanted to, of course they can.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
My parents never did comedy,
I
but
know.
they support me doing comedy.
Oh, my parents don't.
I always say it in this way: go look for Bigfoot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If that's your thing, whatever, life is too short and too stupid. We all think there's certain rules and avenues. Now, you might look for Bigfoot and someone goes, why would you? It's not real. It's stupid. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. So I'm enjoying life. I like looking for Bigfoot. I like being on stage. If my son wrestles right now in high school, I never wrestled. I didn't do that at all. But I'm not going to make him do the thing I did.
Man,
Do
I'd love to
you,
see
and
you
I'm going to
getting a
respect
leotard.
that. We're all your own people. If he loved comedy, they love watching it with me. If they wanted to do comedy, I would open every door I could. I would help any way I could, but I'd also make them fail and fail and fail the way I did to learn it, because it wouldn't help any other way to do that way. So if they want to do it and they came to me, of course. But if I would have to ask them, are you doing it because I do it, or are you doing it because you want to do it? I want them to be happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was deep, honestly, actually.
And then I would tell them afterwards, try missionary, because I know you're not supposed to. And I know it's against the rules and you're supposed to be doing all the doggy like everyone does. But like, if it's for us, it wouldn't be called doggy. It'd be called person-y.
Yeah.
It's not missionary. It's a mission from God, from us to fuck.
Are you religious, Pat?
No, but I was raised Irish Catholic, so I don't believe in God.
Yeah.
I was raised that way, but I'm not religious in any way. No, I believe when you die, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. So this is how I was raised. So, Dad, I'm right outside of Boston. I grew up. My dad's Irish Catholic. My mom's a Jew. So, obviously, growing up around here, you've probably heard my joke. I worked this into my set, but you get fucked with a lot if you're like the only Jewish kid around. Like, if you go into Brookline, Newton, the richer places around Mass, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of Jewish kids. But I was far. There was far and few. It was just me.
But you're like an undercover Jew because you have like an Irish last name. So
exactly. It worked. It worked for the majority of my life. But then I kind of was like, fuck it. Like, if I'm being bullied for this shit, I might as well see what it's all about. So I signed up for this trip, Birthright. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
It's a free trip. Anyone?
I'm a comic. We all know Jews now.
Oh yeah. And we've all been on the trip.
I've dated Jews. I've just never Jewed it up myself.
Mm-hmm. That trip is like what fucking gave me the confidence to like actually like get in the comedy, because I went there. I was down on my luck. I was suspended from college for a year. I was real banged up in life. I was just depressed as shit. I go there. I was like the fucking man. I was like being like the tour guy. They kept giving me like the mic on the bus, like, and like it was just like, it just made me feel like it's so like different. Like when you make people laugh, it's like kind of like, it's kind of like doing a drug or something. Like obviously
it can be a religious experience.
It is, yeah.
I don't believe in God, but I believe in beliefs. If you believe in something, then I will say believe in that. I will never tell you my opinion or what I believe. You ask me what I believe in, I'll tell you what works for me. Listen, meditation works for me. It never did before, but now I do it. It's great. Therapy works for me. It never did before. It works for me, but I wouldn't tell you to do that. You have to go for what makes you happy in life. So if you believing in a certain religion and doing these things and experiences makes you feel great, it makes you not worry about death, because that's what religion's all about, making your mind not go, holy shit, I'm going to die. What happens to me after? I'm okay with thinking that nothing's going to happen. Nothingness is okay, because that makes me say to myself,
that's sad.
Well, it's not, because here's what I think. I need to make every moment count now, because there isn't anywhere else. I need to make sure my kids know they are so loved, that when I am gone, that they know that forever I'm still with them in their minds, whatever certain way there is. My whole philosophy in life is, because I've been working out and trying to be in good shape, I want to make my coffin lighter for the kids, and I want to make my obituary cooler. That's my work. Do everything so when it's
you're gonna have a pretty cool obituary.
And I'm not even close to done yet.
Yeah,
and that's my thing. But I believe in that. But if you believe in Hebrew and things like that, then awesome. If that makes your life better, that makes you feel good. If you believe in Buddhism, you don't believe in God at all, whatever your belief is, go for it, and don't let anyone tell you differently.
Exactly. And that's why, like, when I went there, I ended up getting I had a bar mitzvah at the age of 20. And I'll tell you, dude, the circumcision.
That's old, right? Like, it's usually like teenage years, right?
It's supposed to be, 13.
All right.
Yeah, which is a weird age. I mean, because I think women do it at 12, and it's technically when you become a woman or a man.
Yeah, it's when you're
So,
menstruate or you get pubes. That's
uh,
and you're guessing. It's someone like, yeah, that's when your balls and pussy work good.
yeah, true,
It's creepy
true.
because that means there was someone like scouting kids and going, yeah, that's when they're fuckable. That's what it is. That I know we now make it a religious thing, but that's what they were doing. Like, yeah, that kid's ready to fuck. Like, we don't fuck that kid. He's like, whoa, this is a long time ago. We're allowed to fuck kids then.
I like how that's like your accent for like ancient
Everything.
Jerusalem.
It's my accent for everything. My friend goes, it's like he's kind of black and he's also Russian. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
what the voice is, and it's also Gilbert Gottfried. In reality, it's just me doing me.
Mhm.
It's like I'm doing louder me. I'm like, here I am. I'm me now.
So you got any questions for me?
You know what? Yeah, I do.
All right.
If you could go back to first time doing open mic, the first time any show, every show you did, would you have told yourself to do anything different?
Yeah.
What?
I would have told myself, fuck the story. Go up there and just talk about who you are. Because at that time, I was
Well,
funny.
okay, real quick. Why?
I was funny for reasons I didn't even understand. I was kicked out of college for robbing a drug dealer that lived above me. He ended up telling the police. He went to jail. I got off scot free, like no trouble. I just got suspended for a year of school. But I was in shit. My dad fucking threw me out the house. I lived in Colorado by myself for a month on the street. I just came back, and that was like the week after I got into stand-up comedy. I didn't understand what I was doing. Like I just was like,
But you
oh,
also didn't understand. You didn't understand how to convey that yet.
yeah, exactly.
Whenever I ask that question to people, and I'll say that, I'm like, but if you didn't do that first thing, it wouldn't have led to the second thing. It wouldn't have
Yeah,
learned to it wouldn't have led to the realization that you could have said other stuff.
yeah,
I have
exactly.
jokes that are now my best jokes that I thought of 13 years ago.
Really?
And I
Wow.
tried to tell them on stage, and they didn't work. I wasn't ready yet. I didn't throw them out. And then I would look back through notebooks and go, "Oh shit, I know how to." Like it's like a decoder ring. You're like, "Oh shit, I know how to tell this now because I'm a different person."
Yeah.
So I would never change that I got tricked into it. I would never change the potatoes joke. I would never change the dumb things I did when I used to stand on stage and pretend I was a fat stripper and tie my shirt in a knot and give lap dances to people on stage. And Greg Giraldo told me, "Don't ever fucking do that again, or you'll never work in comedy." I would never change these things because they made me who I am now. So I would go back to me and I would say nothing. I would sit back and I'd watch me. And
Yeah.
I'd say, good for you, man. You're making that choice. Because if I came and told me something, I might not do comedy. I might overthink shit too much.
Actually, you're right. That's like the butterfly effect. I bet if I told myself anything at that time, I'd probably be dead right now. I would have never grown as a person.
There's sometimes I'll be like, hey, that other lady that you're not fucking because she's a little grosser than the one you're fucking now. Fuck that one because she's nicer, and the other one's gonna get you in trouble. Like I might have said that shit to me, but comedy wise, I never would have said it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Because comedy, it's all about growing. You have to fucking, like you said, you're not failing when you bomb. You have to bomb just to keep working through. And if you don't bomb, like I bombed like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it was only in front. I didn't bomb. There was only 4 people there.
Right?
So
Yeah.
like,
How do you bomb in front of nobody?
yeah, exactly. So like, I bet I
What
beat
the
myself.
4 people didn't get up and applaud you?
Yeah, they didn't chase me
There
out
are
the
three
door.
other comics probably and one dude. Like that's
Yeah,
some guy who's like a talent scout for creeps.
yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
is. Yeah. You can't fail. If you're going through the process, if you're learning, if you went there with a goal and you set the goal, I got to say this joke. I want to try different wording on this. I want to add inflection to this. I want to just say this out loud. I want to memorize. If it's just like, I got to memorize this 5 minutes, I got to run this 5. If you accomplish those things, then it worked. Now, here's the thing. If you crush it, we know people do. If you crush it open mics all the time, you're going to fail in front of real people. Because
Yeah, yeah.
open mic audiences are drunken pieces of shit that are there for wing specials.
Yeah.
Like, they're not good. They're happy when you go, cunt, cunt, cunt. They're like, yeah, do that. They don't care about a joke structure. When I see a comic who's failing all the time, but I can tell he's got good shit at an open mic, that's the kind of guy I'll grab and go, hey, man, I know this guy. I'm going to let him to give you 3 minutes on his show. I want you to see a real audience. I want you to know what you're writing towards. And then I'll try to help out I can. I'll get him on stage, even doing 3 minutes. And then even if it doesn't work that well, he's getting laughs at things he never got laughs at. And I'm like, that's who you're writing for, not for the drunks. So now write your jokes for those people, but practice it in front of them. That's the hardest thing with comics. There's no that you're working at one place to write for something else. So you have to understand what's funny and then realize I don't need anyone to laugh at the joke for me to know the joke's good. You now know what's working. You now know when you have an idea, this can work. Oh, now that I'm saying it like this will happen. If no one laughs, you're like, this is still good. I know it'll work in front of people.
Exactly. And like obviously the crowds at open mics, like even if like there's like some of them I'll go to, there'll be like the same guy there like every week, or like those be like random popping groups. And the crowds, like once they see a couple comics go, they also get like desensitized to like what really is good like comedy, you know what I mean? Like they might go in like after watching a Bill Burr special, like watch two comics, be like fuck this, but they just have a like they're not a shitty person, and they're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll laugh, like because it's easy to laugh if a whole room's laughing too, like it's
it's contagious. That's what's great. Listen, there's a reason why the best comics in the world get to work awesome rooms, because people want to laugh, they want to go, but you don't get to start there, you know what I mean? You got to start in the shitty gym. It wouldn't help. It wouldn't help. The comics who first start and do the bringer show, that we'll come back to the very beginning of this, when you get to do comics and you get to be at Mohegan Sun and there's 200 people there sometimes, we've had to happen, 200 people at a fucking bringer show. There are some comics who go up there and that's their first time. And I'm like, you're never going to be good because you think that's every show.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them to go to a mic and they're like, why would I go to this thing where there's 5 people? I want to be in front of 200 people all the time. Like, well, you're not. That was rare. And you can't explain it to them because it was their first experience. If your first person you ever fuck is the hottest woman in the world,
she was.
You go have sex with someone else that's not that hot, but she's a nice lady. You're like, this sucks. I'm only gonna have sex with hot women. Like, well, you lucked out that one time. You're gonna just give up on sex forever now because you got to fuck one hot lady. You got to fuck some gross people that are nice too.
You gotta fuck 5 twos to get to a 10, baby.
No, 5 of them. That's some two's rough. If you think the whole world think what a 2 is rough. Two's no teeth.
Two's no teeth.
Two's no. That's tough. Like you want a New York or Boston 2. You don't want like a Brookline 2. What the fuck is that? That's the worst A 0 doesn't exist. A 0 is an abortion. Actually, a 1's an aborted baby, and a 0 is the lady who aborted the baby. That's how
that could be a good joke right there, dude.
It could be, but I'm sure it's been done.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah, the rating system for bitches. I'm pretty sure that was done in the 80s a whole bunch.
Yeah.
She's no Eskimo 7. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I think I know a comedian.
Yeah, I think we know the guy that does that structure. It's a fun podcast thing, but that's the comedy mind. You hear a thing, go, oh shit, that's a bit. That's how our mind works. People don't get that. It's hard to date people like this because they're like,
trust me,
and they're supportive and they're loving and they want to help you, but they're so tired of hearing your joke, especially when you don't want to hear about their day. Like, fuck you.
That's why me and my girlfriend.
I told you told me 12 jokes. You better listen about the day with my mom shopping. It's like, all right, dear. Yes, I will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I just got out of a relationship. We'll end the podcast here on a sad note.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just got out of a relationship like 2 weeks ago.
I did the abortion thing. That wasn't sad, but this will be sad.
No, that was pretty sad. But so I was in a relationship. My girlfriend, she was driving me all of my shows. I got some shit going on right now in my life.
Oh, same here. I haven't driven in years. Comics have a lot of shit going on, but I get a lot of good friends or other comics that bring me.
Exactly, yeah. And I got that shit going on. So my girl.
No, but it's hard to date when you're not driving because that's the red flag in all dating sites. They're like, you ain't got no car. I'm like, well, you don't know my life, bitch. You have 12 kids with 12 different last names. Don't judge me. I just can't drive. You can't stop getting cum in.
I think you're talking about a very specific person right now.
Yeah. Take that, Juanita. No, I don't know.
Yeah, so she was hooking me up. She was driving me to all my shows. Like, even as far as like, she would bring me like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours to get to a show.
Yeah.
And she was really into it because like she never saw me do comedy. We were off and on for years, but I just never really wanted anyone to like come with me. I wanted it to be like my like own like mission. Like I didn't want anyone to come and see me do it until I knew like I'm gonna make them laugh.
And also, I don't think a lot of people get that. you start to think about people you care about when you're performing, and it takes away from the selfishness, which is comedy. You're worried about their experience. You're worried if they're okay, if they're having fun, and then anything you have to do there, then you can't be you. And their mind is like, but I want to be there for you. I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to, and they are going to be supportive, but it's a weird, fragile mind that we have. I'm at the point now where anyone can come see me anytime. I don't care. But there was times where I didn't want people to go.
Yeah.
And they would think like, what are you cheating on me? And I totally get that idea because you're going on stage, women are cheering for you. They think you're a rock star. And I get that, but you're not doing that. But I get why they thought that. And that's a thing where it could be tough. That hurts relationships.
Exactly.
It's better off to establish yourself as a comic and then start dating someone than trying to climb up with it. Because they're going to leave you because they're not going to get why you're driving 4 hours for $2. You stink. Like, you're right.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what the conversation was.
That's the conversation.
Yeah. And she was like, you're wasting your fucking time here. She was like, either just wait until you can do open mics in Boston. And I was like, this is a paid show. Like, I gotta go to this. Like, it's not much money, but like, and she just was like belittling.
It's a hard explanation.
Yeah.
It's about the experience. It's about you have to do this. It's a rite of passage thing. And if you're not a comic, you don't get it.
Exactly.
It's not their fault for not getting it. But you know what? That makes sense because that person, it's not that they wouldn't support you, but they're not ready for what you have to go through. And you don't need that thing that we worry about in life. Yeah. And you want to find the people that are going to get that. Now, those people are usually crazy and they don't end up really helping you in the long run. But the ones that support you don't mind taking that ride. They're doing it because they're running away from the law or something.
Yeah.
That's okay. They drive.
Well, they're running from something. And that's not bad, though. Honestly, those are fun people to be around.
They fuck well.
Yeah.
They fuck real well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lunatics fuck great because they got to earn that couch they're staying on.
All right, see,
we ended on a happy note.
Yeah, all right, that's great. All right, I gotta get off. I gotta play some video games before I go to bed. I only got 2 hours.
Nice.
So it was great talking to you.
Thanks, man. I had a blast.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming back on. We'll do it again. I'll come on your show whenever you need a guest.
I'll hit you up, man. The retail one, you're definitely gonna be coming on, bro.
Definitely. And if I ever have any opening spots, if I'm ever running a show out here, I'll definitely get you on. And
please never talk to me again. But I appreciate it. No, dude. Same here. We'll definitely keep in touch. I love what you're doing, man. Just keep working hard. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Pat. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, brother.